Skillshare. Are you tired of listening to the 1000th vaguely interested segue into a Skillshare video with custom links to get an amazing amount off? Are you one of those people who doesn't want to pay for a subscription so some dressed up professional recorded jackass can tell you how to focus your webcam right? That's where Not Skillshare comes in. The people at Not Skillshare are you, friends, coworkers, pals, and others in the same field who can help you by simply stating how to hit the plus button on the Zoom or pointing you to a YouTube or website article. Using next-gen GPT 3.1 AI and USB 3.3 and HDMI 2.1 that might not be 2.1 technology, we have advanced tech to just about ready to fulfill your needs. So subscribe now for nothing or for the low price of nothing, no months down, or the annual subscription rate of nothing for no months with nothing down forever. You can join the men and women at Skillshare and, just help each other or use Google. Or, you can ask somebody. Or you can just tell somebody you'll pay them $1 to learn whatever it is you want to learn. I mean, it's just the plus on your camera. It's not too hard to do the focus, but hey, Skillshare. This video is brought to you by Do you have too much cush in your push? Do you suffer from too much traction and action while you're thrashing and bashing at the late night smashing? Try Manscraper. Manscraper is for the manly man. Sure, you can get little kid trimmers from the competitors as they daintily dance around your third arm and muckles. Manscaped is for a different beast. It's for dudes from another brood who didn't politely need to clip but need to hedge trim like they leg-choked Wilt Chamberlain in the glory years. Using our patent-pending 15-horsepower chipper shredder with advanced gonad alert technology, we can promise you the best shave you're ever going to get. And with Manscaped 2.0, there's approximately 12% less chance of injury. For only $499.99, you can get the Manscraper. 4 plastic bags for collecting your work and a 6-ounce container of aloe vera. If you order now, we'll also throw in the Demansculator. If you have nose thunder, down under, or just need a good washing, just hang our 4.2-pound Demansculator from your junk. Why shower when you can power through the hour, smelling like a tower of flowers? The Demansculator gives your wrinkled boys the washing of a lifetime, certified to pass any antibacterial test for 6 months after use. Current research shows no impact on fertility. And last but not least, if you order now, we're going to throw in a little Gorilla Glue, because once you're done, you can make a beard out of all the leftovers. I mean, who doesn't want to dress up for Halloween, right? Why let all that good go to wasting? Manscaped, shaving your man grapes like you deserve. And if you join our Patreon now, you can join our photo collection group, where you can send in no, don't send me in nudes. Seriously, don't. No, I don't want to leave it because I'm sure somebody's going to be out there going, hey man, I'll send in some nudes after I wash my skunk. But anyway, Manscaped. Don't join the Patreon just to send nudes, but join the Patreon if you want to. Manscaped. If you want nuts so clean you can eat off them. Manscaped. We haven't killed anybody yet. We've been clipping what you've been dipping since porn wasn't shorn and everyone looked like Ivy and Thorns. This video is sponsored, by the way.
There we go.
If they're not moving, they look fine. But the moment one of those fucking
Really? The
8-legged
animations?
centipede-looking pandas try to move her, yes, they look like.
Why not just make the Half-Life 3 cupcake and sell it to everybody, right? Even if it leaves a terrible taste in your mouth, people will still have bought your cupcake. And the analogy breaks at some point, so bear with me, right?
And this one time, my mom bought me a shirt, and I was in high school, and I'd been powerlifting and then stopped. So I was like, fucking 280 or something like that. And they were buying for 190-pound kid. So it was like a medium. And I put that on, and it was like a sausage roll with legs, man. And my mom would not stop demanding I put it on. And I'm like, put it on, put it on. Your grandma wants to see it. This might be her last year alive. And I'm like, well, we're not going to die and have the last memory in her life be of me squeezed into this thing like a toothpaste. He'd have dinosaurs delivering your What if all you heard was a scratching at your door? And it's like,
It has really small hands, so it can't really carry
and
stuff.
so it's like it's got the box, but it's holding it like a snicker, like this. It's all. Here's your pill.
You
But
might need to package that.
it'd be a
in
surprise
more
mechanic.
marketable format.
Occasionally, the box would
Surprise
open,
mechanic,
and there
there you
wouldn't be a
go.
Tyrannosaurus in it. And other times, so what if there was $1 million in one canister? You drop a railroad car, soundproof, so you can't tell. You drop a railroad car, and there's either a rabid Tyrannosaurus, probably already rabid. So, but you get a Tyrannosaurus in one, maybe some guns on him,
Fairly.
and then the other one's got $1 million. And you're like, everybody go there, and if you open the door, surprise, you get one or the other. They look by your focus in games being fractured by poor technology and a style that goes back to the 80s even if you were born in the 90s? Then look no further than ACG Slathered Junk. That's right, a new line ACG products that are guaranteed to improve your hip thrust, hip fire, and sniper headshotting kills. Where all other imitators just buy something from a company and have a sticker just thrown on it so they can sell you merchandise, which really only results in you walking around with their head near your tits. Not ACG, baby, no way. These are handcrafted by the skilled five-fingered mittens of yours truly, put together with an aim to increase your juice. Look at these headphones, spray painted with ACG right on their side, and you can't tell me that won't raise your game, elevate your heart rate, and make you the best high-test, low-rest motherfucker on the planet. We've got everything: jugs, mugs, skirts, shirts, burkas, guns, cars, headphones, webcams, earbuds, ear cams, face tattoos, and genital piercings. It's all there. Like I said, this isn't just the normal item pulled from the shelves like all other creators out there and then slathered with their name. These are made from genuine angel dust, and not the snortable kind, but the kind you get when you grab an angel and wring its body free of its magical powers that slowly dies to light the frozen fires of excellence in all our products. ACG Slathered Junk. I take care of you when no one else will. All the shit total BS, and like all other creators, it's not better than normal marketed brands, but buy my shit, please. In a world where first-person shooters are relegated to been there, done that status, a new contender has arrived. Today we announced Call of Karak 2, the Karakening Limited Unlimited Collector's Ultimate Exclusive We Ran Out of Fancy Shit Names Edition. Where other video game editions just give you a couple items, we here at Crack Design Incorporated Productions want to reward you, the gamer. Now we have marketing data that proves that all the other shit you get matters more to you guys than the game. So when you buy for a limited but ultimately unlimited time and purchase the Unlimited Collector's Limited Edition, you get DLC that'd be sold later in a complete package, a gun painted like a giraffe, a gun painted like you would probably paint it, a deck of completely unrelated Norway playing cards, a specially designed Zika-sized mask guaranteed to fit no one, and lastly, get access to the PC version early so you can beta test that bitch for us. But most importantly, for a completely unlimited time to make you feel like you need to rush out and get it, we have an oversized, completely ridiculous statue lit up with Christmas tree lights that we won't tell you how much it costs us to make, but you can bet some kid in China's pounding these out 20 a day while high-fiving a statue of Xi Jinping on his way out every morning. And to close this off, here's a list of bullet points that we needlessly make look like they're all in the special editions, but are actually just in the game. The game. A manual, like that's somehow special. An explanation of the modes right here because it's got numbers in it. It'll make you think there's more going on. And lastly, multiple times where we can use the word epic and massive to make sure that you feel like you're going into a Michael Bay movie. So by now enjoying the epic, interconnected, massive, scorching, huge, big word, interactive, open, but really hub world gameplay experience. This is somehow already being claimed as a classic, an instant hit, and amazing by websites that haven't even fucking played it yet. So join us September never. Disclaimer, also not on early access services because we're shit with promises. And today, a special thanks to our new sponsor. Have you ever wanted to be a part of nerd culture but didn't have the money to jump into the newest graphics cards, expensive figurines, or YouTubers trying to sell you on 3D printing at home where they get a cut? Well, look no further. A company's found the perfect middle ground for people with just enough money to spend, but not enough to do anything useful with. Karak Crate, where you get a new crate of random Karak items every single month. Each month, a different box arrives at your door. Spatulas, used socks, my slightly bent and beat up cheese grater, or a cat. That's right, for only $14.99 per month, twice a month, you get a small crate sent to your house, just absolutely stock full of useless bullshit. Each pack is created to make sure that you get at least 4 rare items as well as 4 items that you won't have any fucking clue what to do with. Now, just some of the amazing things that you can get in your new Karak Crate: a pair of bloody scissors, used facial scrubber, 1/2 of a well-worn jockstrap, and the last ball of lint that my cat coughed up. Ladies and gentlemen, you won't find a better deal for something to make you feel like you're wasting your cash on crap anywhere else. And these items are nice enough to display proudly around your home as a member of the Karak Crate. Each comes with a stand made of genuine bullshit. The same bullshit anyone is trying to prattle to you like you're a rot-lipped gate mouth whenever they want you to pay for a mystery crate filled with useless shit just like this. So again, try Karak Crate. For just $21.99 per month, 4 times a month, each month, twice a month, you can get an amazing crate filled with stuff that you will have no fucking idea what to do with. Karak Crate, where strange comes to you.
Yeah,
it'll be like, sup everybody, this is Karak with ACG. I'm here with Reg, Silver, and Johnny doing the international podcast bitching session here just for one moment. But yeah, dude, so every time two-factor comes up, whenever I'm signing into anything, it'll always be like buses. And after a while, I'm like, how many fucking buses do I need to point out before you figure out that maybe you should ask something different? And then it'll ask for bikes, but there'll be like an edge of a bike wheel in one. And you're like, is that a bike or is that not a bike? And then you find out later it has nothing to do with that. It's so that they can teach the AI if you can identify a bike and how long you take to click the button. Anyway, We were complaining because it was taking me a little bit of time to get in here. I apologize. If you get a chance, tweet out. The podcast is going live right now. We're going to talk about reviews for the prior games that have come up. We're going to talk about pretty much mostly reviews. There's some new stuff. There's some new purchases that these guys have posted in the news that we're going to talk about, and anything you guys want us to. Thank you very much for the new people here. Old people are always appreciated, of course, and I don't mean old like age, even though that would be interesting to see what our age demographic is. But I mean, people who've been here for a long time. I absolutely appreciate it. We've got a lot of newcomers. Discord's been popping, so definitely appreciate it. Let's see here. First off, is anybody getting Monster Hunter Rise?
Yes.
Okay, Johnny's played it. Okay, so I got looks like you have a fan here above all of us, Johnny. So Mr. Reza say, yeah, Johnny's here too.
Hell yeah.
I don't know what two means. Like, were you ever not going to be here?
Oh, right.
Are you telling people
You mean,
on your
am I
channel
an
you're
extra?
leaving? Are you planning on leaving the ACG podcast? Anyway, so you got this game. I have to ask you about Rise real quick. Dude, I don't find it less complicated in combat because you have the switch skills. I don't know if you've got to that point yet. You've got all these things that you can do. You've got all this stuff that you can adjust. But I keep seeing people saying that combat is overly simplified. So what do you think on that? Because, dude, I got to tell you, after watching Fighting Cowboys stuff, he wasn't thinking it was overly simplified, especially with switch skills. But I keep seeing this pop up, and I'm like, is it just a mistake of their PR, or is it something that I'm missing?
Yeah, I think it's maybe easier, I would say. It feels a bit easier.
It's for sure easier. Yeah.
Right, and especially like the village quests, because they scale the monsters down a little bit, so they're actually, a bit quicker to kill in the single player quests.
Yeah.
Versus when you go into the gathering hub,
right,
even if you're alone, it's already scaled up to 2 people, the HP of the monster. So there's a clear difference there. So I could see that the basic mechanics are just equally complex, as complex as the original.
What I thought.
The different parts, aside from the normal weapon mechanics, which are largely unchanged, are instead of the grappling hook from World, where if you remember that you basically had to weaken parts of the monster to do efficient damage, and you had to do it. It wasn't really optional if you wanted to be, efficient. Here, they kind of removed that entirely, and what you have is the what do you call it? The zip line thing? The wire bug, yeah, thank you. So you have combos with that. Each weapon has different combos. You have 2 wire bug moves per weapon, I believe, right?
It is, yeah.
And so to me, that's a good amount of stuff to replace the that missing component that I mentioned. There are a few small things, like the ability, if you remember, you could shoot seeds at the monsters.
Oh, yes.
Right? There was a whole thing, and I think that's not there anymore.
Right.
I'm pretty early in the game, but I think that's not there. And that allowed you to, for example, switch your direction entirely. That was actually pretty handy. So there are differences like that, but that's pretty granular. That's pretty small. It doesn't change the level of complexity for me that I'm noticing. I think it's just as rich of a game, personally.
Yeah, so do I. I think it's just as rich. It starts you off quick. It's like, shit, spam, boom. And it's just like, go fight. And you open up quests. And I had more stuff right away. Like, once you do a couple quests, you already get more armor, because it's like, go fight this bad guy, go fight. And you go and you fight him. And as you said, it is easier. I for sure felt that it was easier until later. I mean, that is sort of what it's about. And the only thing I didn't like is the kid raising his hand tutorials. It was just every second. It was like, hey,
my God.
Hey, I got a question. And you're like, no, I've already fucking talked about this. I'm done. And you try to skip it, and it's like, no problem. And then you come back in, and I swear to shit, the same tutorial would pop up. But, dude, I like it. The switch skills, when you're using a normal weapon, you've got the moves down, and then you buy a switch skill, which completely changes, and adds some whole new feel to even the most basic of the weapons, like the longsword. I thought, I don't know if I would say more complex, but I thought that was a well worth the trade-off of World. I know it's got bigger areas, but goddamn, sometimes you're just like, I just need a berry. And you're like, yeah, but you got to go 3 miles away. And you're like, no, just one berry. And in this game, you can have your monsters go and buy and trade in a submarine, which, by the way, like I said in the review, the first time you see a cat jump in a submarine to go buy a berry is a weird moment. You're just like, this is surreal. They've gone off the reservation with their thought process. But it's so nice. If you need something, you can just send them to go get it. You can do your stuff. So you're liking it so far?
Dude, yeah, it's been quite nice to play. You know, I didn't like it as much on the Switch. There was something about playing it on that
12 FPS
console. So, right, there's something about that when you boot it up and it's like 150% res. You know, they have like some other filters that look great as well. Like, for example, I have the depth of field thing where it looks a bit more artistic, where the stuff in the background is blurred. To me, that's pleasing. It looked great. And then that coupled with 120 FPS, pretty stable on my system. It's, you know, it is actually glorious.
Very cool. Silver, Red, you getting it? Probably not, right?
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Man, Silver, you don't want to get into these games, man?
No.
I think you'd appreciate it.
I don't know if he would because, like, man, I'm pretty open to, like, some kind of combat. And even I'm, like, sometimes in Dark Souls, I'm just like, dude, or not Dark Souls. I was going to mention the comparison. But sometimes in Monster Hunter, I'm like, this is really cumbersome, man. Like, dude, you have to.
Everything I've seen from, like, from gameplay videos from Monster Hunter games is all the aspects I think are the worst aspects of MMOs. Like
I would say Rise
like
isn't.
The grinding and the UI and
the UI is, but I would say Rise. I don't know if Rise feels anywhere near like World does in that aspect, but I just don't think you would enjoy it. It's not.
No, I don't think either. I mean, again, like the UI alone. I mean, it's not a secret that I want.
It's a terrible UI. It's a terrible UI. I mean, dude,
which is effectively impossible.
And they use icons that are like, here's a green pastel fucking stamp that you got from like some kind of Girl Scout troop to indicate like your health or something. You're just like, what the fuck? You know, it's like the petroglyphs or whatever they're called, you know, pictoglyphs or whatever. They're fucking people painting on a wall, and those are sort of used as the icons. So it's definitely dirty. I can get why you wouldn't like it. Why are you eating dog food? Somebody said. I don't know what the fuck that means. People are talking about dog food already. We've already gone off the chain on the Discord.
Well, what'd you think? So, last question about World. What'd you think about like the climbing stuff? Because obviously levels now, you know, you can free climb a lot of stuff, and it's a bit more.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'll tell you this: when I got done with the review, I really liked the game, but I remember saying out loud by myself, no one was there, saying I will never return to that game. Oh. And I did the same with Monster Hunter World. There is something about them that reviewing them is you see everything, and
it burns you out.
There's no sense of discovery in Rise, where there was not a bunch in World because, I mean, let's be honest, they only add a couple monsters each time they go. You know, it's not like a whole new monster world, which makes sense. That would be crazy. But you see the same thing each time you play the game, except plus four monsters. Oh, now you can run up the wall. And so once I played it, I was just like, okay, I'm never returning this. And I have no issues playing it. Like that didn't affect my enjoyment playing it. It's just that I was done. Like,
yes,
and especially when I do a review, usually I'm done for a couple months. This was one where I'm like, no, it's just like line in the sand.
Burned out.
Yeah, I didn't return to Iceborne either. You know, and that's another thing. They're already hard enough. Well, not hard, but they're already, you know, complex enough that going back to them for a DLC, you're like, seriously? You know, now I got to remember how to hit with the axe or whatever. And I use the hammer, which is awesome, but slow. So you got to make sure you understand how to run around and not get hit. And then I got a bunch of shit because I used an editor this time. It really helped me out, especially because I was so busy with the God of War that it was hard to, you know, set aside 4 hours to edit. And I forgot to tell him to not, we had a bunch of audio testing footage in there. And so I got a bunch of shit on the review. People were like, dude, you're slashing without the dual, or without the longsword, you know, sharpness rating all the way up. And of course, it, like, sometimes I was and sometimes I wasn't, but it was like, I just was like, hey, make it look action packed so people continue to be excited,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So there were a couple people who were just so mad. They were like, you know what
Everybody
you're
in
talking
the
about.
comments is the best player.
Oh, they're not only the best player, but I got to admit, they were really nice. A lot of people, even somebody on Reddit was like, listen, you obviously know what you're talking about, but why is your... And I was like, dude, at some point, it's like trying to make sure it's the perfection, the pinnacle of perfection in the video, as well
in
as
those
perfect.
games, sometimes you're playing, like listening to something, you know, you're a bit like absent-mindedly
Oh,
playing.
no, I was really absent-minded in that one. There were
Right.
times where I know for a fact I was
Autopilot
just autopiloting that. Yeah, well, because it wasn't that difficult, Johnny. So, like, when you sharpen, I don't know somebody knows the percentage, but when you sharpen versus not sharpen, some weapons have different sharpness, bar, the color. I had one that had a very long yellow bar, I think, or maybe, I can't remember, but one of the bar, and so I would just... you know, and I'm listening to, you know, some rock and roll song at the same time because I've already rated the music, but yeah, it was good times. So these guys aren't getting it. Monster Hunter Rise reviewed very good, so if you guys get a chance, check it out. Much better than the Nintendo Switch version because it actually runs at a doable frame rate. I really hope you guys get a chance to check it out. If you like these kind of games, I would say be aware. Monster Hunter World was never open world, despite world being in the name, but it was far bigger locations. So be aware, wideness-wise, World's got you hands down. Rise has some verticality, but I know a lot of people get into this and be like, what? Bouncing off the rails like a, you know, bowling ball with the little side rails. They're not going to be happy, but it's definitely not as big as Monster Hunter World. Let's see, moving on to there, God of War. So who's getting God of War?
I probably will.
Probably.
Yeah.
Reg?
No. I finished it on console anyway, so I'm
see.
not gonna replay it.
Okay. Johnny?
It's an interesting one. I might replay it later, but at the end of it, I was kind of like you at the end of Monster Hunter, where you said, I'm done, right? I'm sort of done. I really enjoyed it looking back, but I don't really think I have the excitement to play through it again. I don't know. It just didn't hit me as I think most people.
All right. Well, I'm going to explain to you why you absolutely need to get it here in a moment, but I want to read Super Chats so that people don't think I forget. I don't. Super Chats help the channel. They keep it going. I absolutely appreciate these. Foul Play, $10. He's got a light on next up color. That must be for silver. So
there you go.
Here we go. One step. Guys, we're getting him into the 20th century, man. We're working. We're working. We're going to get him there. Nor Imposter, even though it's changed it to Norsk Imposter. Maybe it's always been that way. To the moon. Yeah. Nor and his anti-Elon hate. That's a Crypto Bros joke if I've ever seen one. Those are the super chats. Definitely appreciate it. You guys rock. It definitely does help the channel. Sorry for not reading them right away. We just jumped into it. So God of War. Dude. It's the best port I've seen in years, man.
Wow.
It's insane. Well, I was running it, and it was running so well that you can't talk to anybody about these. So I had to contact somebody and say, if you were playing a game right now, what would you say? Hypothetical. What would you say? And then I got this DM back going, dude, it's like, if I was playing this game, it would be the most brilliant port I've seen in years. And so I was like, okay, I just want to make sure it's not just like my system just happened to one day work perfectly, you know, a magical system. But my God, that game runs so well, man. I mean, it is ridiculous. And it's got FSR and DLSS all built in, you know, so it's like, it's not difficult to figure out what you're doing. There's some settings there that are a little, you know, hedgy, where you set them and you're like, what the fuck does this even do? You know, it's just that happens a lot of times. But overall, man, that thing looks spectacular. If you get widescreen, you actually get an FOV wideness adjustment. You don't get height because there's some issues, which we found out is why there's not an FOV slider at all in the game. But if you do have ultra widescreen, it works. Widescreen, ultra wide. They're both different, aren't they? I can't remember which one. I think it's ultra wide and wide that both are there, but not for normal. What were we going to say?
So there is no way to adjust the field of view, right? Because I think you mentioned that's still...
You have to have like a widescreen, you know, a true ultra wide whatever PC to do it. It's very, very crappy. And I get why they did it, because they even said doing the widescreen on the, official, they were having issues because there's some unsightly stuff that happens in the background on the cutscenes and stuff, which makes sense. That's what I said in the review too. I assumed it was. Abbreviated reviews, $2, just so he can post his little sticker that says cool. It's Indio, and not $1.99. I think Johnny threw shade at him last time. I think he was like,
yeah, he's self-corrected.
NFTs of War, Norsk Imposter says. Man, Nor's just not leaving alone, man. He's like gonna bring that shit up. He's like, dude, I'm gonna poke that canker sore. But anyway, dude, God of War, man, it's awesome. One of the best ports I've seen on PC. Certainly beats out Days Gone. Absolutely beats out Horizon. Both had some issues day one. I think have been patched up. But this one, I know, you always get somebody who's got a crash. Obviously, it is a PC. I had crashes, but on my PC from other things. Yeah, man, if you guys get a chance, it's crazy. It's eviscerating the hearts of PlayStation fans every moment. I mean, dude, they're just like, I'm sure a lot of them feel like, they're just slowly getting flayed open by an obsidian knife and their hearts being removed by Sony. But PC's where it's at.
Did you try running it off an HDD drive?
HCD drive?
HDD, like an
old drive?
Old hard drive. Yeah.
No. All you would need is a 5400 or faster, and you'd match what they had anyway. So I wonder if it restricts you, though. No, it probably wouldn't even restrict you for texture load in because of how they do textures. But I don't even have a 54.
I noticed like a significant difference there with the Horizon port. Where texture loading was really, really slow with an HDD, as opposed to the SSD.
I mean, they are slow. There's no way getting around that. Like, if you have an HDD, you better not be booting off that bitch. See you in 40 minutes. Especially now, where people, even Windows has grown accustomed to SD. So they
you
gloat
could hit the button and go like, okay, I'm cooking dinner.
I have issues with USBs. I've told you guys that before. If you plug a lot of USB shit into your motherboard and you try to boot that thing up, you might as well just go eat a lunch.
You are really maxing that shit out.
I am maxing it out. I now have 26 hard drives. Hustle and Motive 8, $4.99. Happy Friday, gents. You guys are awesome. Much love to the panel in the chat. Hustle, you need to come back. I definitely appreciate it, and you're an awesome dude, man. One of the guys from the Iron Lords that it's like we have a huge overlapping community with them. It's very cool. I got to go on their podcast last week. I don't know if we said anything useful to anybody, but man, we had a good time. Like when we got done, my stomach hurt from laughing. I'm like, did we say anything in the entire podcast that was useful to anybody? I'm hoping the usefulness was just having a good time. That would be it.
Yeah.
Always useful.
Let's see. My cat drives me crazy every damn day, crying outside my bedroom door every damn morning super early. It sounds like you don't like your cat. I'm just saying. Just like, I'm just reading some of the chats in here. Like maybe you just don't like your cat. Maybe it's time to go. Let's see. God of War was a one and done. Too many unskippable cutscenes. Oh, yeah. Right. I get that. Let's see. Johnny has a pet panther. Did you see Monster Hunter Rose VR Mood yet? What? Chris Brennan says...
Probably Monster Hunter Rise VR mod, I guess.
Oh my God! Oh man, thank you. Chris types like I do. Chris, you just treated me like myself. Okay. Oh, and then I see Monster Hunter Rise. Damn, autocorrect. Yeah, dude, autocorrect's been screwing me. Okay, I get you. That is amazing. Man, that is amazing. So have I seen that? No, I haven't. Has anybody seen this
no.
mod?
No.
Okay, that was awesome. Expert B says, I watched the IOB podcast. I was laughing so much I missed I missed most of what you guys were saying. You lost nothing, Expert. I have no clue what we were talking. We talked about VR, and then somebody turned their camera off, and I teased them about possibly masturbating during the podcast. I remember that much, and I think that's pretty much where shit went off the rails. It never came back. Let's see. PS Now removal from stores. Mr. Reza says PS Now removal from stores and new PS Game Pass. I don't know what that means.
Sony has removed prepaid PS Now cards from stores, like the physical cards.
Why do you think that is?
The reason they gave was that they want to unify it because they have prepaid cards anyway for like the money value.
Okay.
And people should just buy those and then use
Okay.
them to claim it.
I agree. Whatever you choose one. It'd be best if it's just one and done. Let's see. Hoping for Returnal to come to PC, Plague Soul says. Man, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Who all here played Returnal? We all did.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
I haven't.
No for oh, because PS5, is that why?
Correct.
Well,
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, I have a PS5, but it's it's £52 on sale. So it's 25% off, and yet I was able to buy Elden Ring and Dying Light for PC pre-order for the same price that Returnal is at now on a sale.
Really?
Does that make sense what I'm
Yeah,
trying
no,
to say?
it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. In comparison,
So
they were
the-
identical, 1 or 2.
So
Nothing wrong with that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's on like a
Exactly.
slightly older game.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, it's just
Slightly older is
shocking
a
the-
year older. That's not slightly in the gaming
It-
industry,
like-
to me at least.
To me,
Old
just
news.
the Sony tax thing is becoming really
Oh.
obnoxious right now.
Is that
And
what
I
that
know
is?
Well,
Son-
we
the-
laughed,
Premium.
Mhm.
right? Because we laughed about Nintendo, the Nintendo tax. Well, the reality Sony is that Sony's, I think, maybe even worse with that.
They are. They are the leaders in the price hike.
Yeah.
Ron R. Super Chat. Can't stick around for the live show, but I never miss a podcast. Have a good one. You're missing it right now,
They're
but
also-
whatever.
They're
Whatever.
also
Thank you, you
worse
rock.
in the transition from like old gen to next gen in terms of the games, like updating your games from older gen to next gen than like Xbox is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that sucks, Johnny. I get you. I want Ghost of Tsushima to come to PC so bad, Philly Mike says. Yeah. Ghost of Tsushima on PC would be awesome. I think that game doesn't have any technical things that would vastly improve. Like, it's already got high resolution. It's already got, there's some drawing, so you can see the drawing being patched, but overall, that game is beautiful for other reasons. So I would love to see it on PC, but I'm going to be honest, when I play that game, I don't yearn for PC. Which
True.
does happen. I did
Yeah.
in the God of War because I was hoping to get away from Vagina Cam, and it didn't happen.
Or Horizon, hoping to aim better.
Or Horizon, hoping to aim at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's cool to see these come, man. I know it's eviscerating fans because even in our own chat, it's funny in our own chat years ago. I'm just going to be honest. Years ago, there were some people in there that were very anti the changes Sony was doing. And, if you've been there a while, you probably, you can pick out some of the people we're talking about, but it's like, it's very difficult because it's like you've backed this one company and as a console, and to see them on PC when you used to use that as an excuse that there's no Xbox exclusives. It's hard when you say there's no Xbox exclusives because they're on PC and you're like, what about this game? And they're like, oh shit, now it's on PC. So and you see that uncomfortable bit, but I've seen them all turn around. It's been very cool. In fact, the last couple months, I've seen 3 or 4 return that had been gone for a long time, not patrons, who've come back to sort of be like, okay, it is about games. Because they were a little bit more platform centric. And our Discord, I would say, is heavily game centric. I mean, there's still Discord, there's still discussion about platforms, but it's pretty rare. And whenever anybody's like, well, blah, blah, blah has blah, 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 somebody will come in and be like, actually, blah, blah, blah has blah, blah, blah. And that's Silver using actually. Anybody else would just come in and be like, So
I mostly use well these days. But
you've changed it. You're like, oh shit, I got to change this up, man. I got to change this
Look at
up.
that.
So God of War and Rise are your 2 big ones. And then now we're looking at what's coming out at the end of this month. Uncharted.
Uncharted, yep.
Who's getting that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think
I
Uncharted's
might.
going to be fun. You might. Johnny, no Uncharted?
I might get that. I haven't played what is the one? I thought it was a DLC,
Journey,
but
the
standalone.
Lost Legacy.
Yeah.
thank you.
Dude,
I haven't
game is
played that.
Sweet. It is good. It is almost on par with Uncharted 4. It is
And-
really good.
Shout out to Hustle, who super chatted earlier. He also said what you said now, that it is up there
Yeah.
with some of the best.
Dude, it's pretty crazy because I didn't know what to expect. I love the voice actresses, so I was like, I'm gonna play this. I like the idea of 2, but I got to tell you, they actually use the 2 characters at times, which just never really happened in the Uncharted games. And in this game, obviously, it's very specific towards these 2 ladies going out and doing and journeying together and finding this stuff out. But they come together in battles and stuff. It's pretty fucking wicked. And of course, it's awesome voice actresses, 2 people I follow religiously. So, yeah, so if you get a chance, that's coming out 28th. So that's January for you, right? Anybody in the chat, anything in January, we're, small, big, it doesn't matter. Silver, is there anything in January that's not like super big that you were thinking of?
Yeah, but it doesn't come to mind like off the bat.
Okay. So I think we're halfway through January. I think they aimed a little early to separate from February, and that's why we're not getting a lot of late January games. The only one we're getting is Uncharted, and that sells itself in a way. Even though it's a remake, and people were talking about that last night, about like, it doesn't seem that old to be getting are they called remasters? Is the Uncharted?
No, I think they're just a collection.
They're just a collection, yeah. Even though they are improved. Gaming Therapy, my birthday is what I'm looking forward to in January. Good for you. Good for you. You'll be 18. Congrats.
I mean, the collection was a remaster that released for the PlayStation 4, and I think that's basically what they're.
Yeah, we're getting like improved FPS, improved resolution.
Yeah, but that's what the one I was confusing it with originally.
Yeah,
because that collection is like 1, 2, 3, or was 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
But the one we're getting on PC is just 4 and the standalone.
Yep.
Okay.
Very weird. Very weird merging of those 2. It makes me wonder if they're trying to get Lost Legacy to catch.
No, I think it's just a naming problem because it was called the Nathan Drake collection or something like that.
Yeah, it was.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was just the first 3, and now this is yet another collection, but it's totally like unrelated.
I'm telling you right now, though, this back to the game itself. Lost Legacy. If you're an Uncharted fan and you haven't played Lost Legacy for whatever reason, and I don't want to guess your reason because I'm gonna probably assume it's disliking female characters, which would be distasteful to me, especially in this particular realm where they've gone so far to push it, Tomb Raider, that kind of stuff. You're missing out. You're missing out.
You know what it is for me, dude? I thought for the longest time that was a DLC. And
for
I
generally
don't for Uncharted 4, and I generally don't go back for DLC. So I just thought, maybe I'll get to it someday. But then again, talking with Hustle, he was like, "No, dude, it's a standalone game and it's dope." So
dope. It's dope.
I think pretty sure those were his words.
That it's dope, or that he said dope. If he didn't, we're pretending he did. All right, let's see. So January is over. Verifying there's nothing else to talk about in January. Steam Deck stuff is February or March or April or May or next January.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah.
So we've got that. I want to make sure I clear out January. Somebody said Golden Abyss. Oh, it's trapped on the Vita. I thought he was saying a Golden Abyss was coming out this week. Let's see. I'm just looking here to see if there's anything out for
big,
January.
But not for us, I think. But January, something big that's still releasing in January is a new Pokemon game.
Right. I can't remember the name of it. I just got a DM about it.
Legend Arceus.
So is it like a full-fledged Pokemon or like a spin-off?
I think it's a full-fledged. I mean, I was getting a lot of DMs asking if I was going to review it, and I don't think I would have if it was like some kind of side spin-off.
So is it like the others where there are 2 editions? Like Sapphire or whatever, like
Dude, I have no idea.
Where the 2 colors. I haven't played one in so long. I don't even know how to discuss them.
Well, it doesn't look like it.
Big Mac says it's a spin-off, not a full-fledged Pokemon game. I mean,
okay.
What does that mean these days?
Well, I was wondering, right? Because they've done, for example, the Snapshot one, which is totally different gameplay-wise. You're just taking pictures. So I'm wondering if this one is in the vein of the mainline Pokemon games, where it's like an RPG, you know.
I just don't think people would be reaching out to me to review it if it wasn't very close to the mainline games. 'Cause, I mean, I just and there were and I never got even.
Dude, imagine
contacted
you
on some
reviewing like the Pokemon Snapshot one, where you're
you know
running
I'd
around
remove
for
it.
hours.
I loved Snap. I had it on the 64. It was one of my favorite games. I mean, I get
No
shit.
shit.
Pokemon Snap, dude. N64 Pokemon Snap was legit. I like
Okay,
it.
okay.
You know, you're talking to somebody who loves Skylanders. Like, I don't mind that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So now
Interesting.
I think people see me review and maybe the way I look, and they're like, "Oh, he's gonna review a shooter." You know, let's go, Crypto Bros. Let's review shooters. And then I'm like, Sims is my favorite game of all time, guys.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
gonna have
chat,
to calm
if
down.
if you thought Karak was this one-dimensional NPC,
Multi-dimensional.
think again.
It's true.
Multi-layered, complex.
Multiple different secrets that you can find if you continue to explore the game of Karak, which sounds really sexual. Sounds really dirty. Okay, so January's over. We go into February.
Yeah.
Did you guys see
Oh,
that
God.
Dying Light? Dude, they're hitting PR hard, man. It's like a trailer once every 3 days from them.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
It's
And the 500-hour claim, that was funny.
sorry, that was bad, man. That was a bad show. That was a bad.
I mean, it always
Yes.
is. It's always an own goal because you're always going to get pushback on that when you give out a specific number. Just say it's a huge game. It's bigger than the original game. Go with that instead of throwing out a specific number, because you'll always have someone going, "I don't believe that number," and then pushing you on it.
Foul play, $10 super chat. It's Pokemon meets Breath of the Wild. It's funny he mentions that. That is actually what somebody else told me, which is one of the
Okay.
reasons why it's stuck in my head that I sort of did want to look at it. So thank you very much, Foul play. Yeah, back to Dying Light 2. So I rewrote their tweet as a joke, and I was like, you know, if
It
you like the
works
main story, it's
as a joke.
20 hours, and if you love and if you hate zombies and love exploration, it can be up to 500 if you want to get all the trophies. That was it. That's all that was required for them to write. And instead they're like 500 hours, blah blah blah, and you're just like, "Oh shit, man."
That's as much as
and-
walking
and I
from,
mean-
I don't know what they gave.
Yeah,
sometimes
dude,
in
and they
cities.
even did that. They even compared it to walking
Yeah.
somewhere, and you're like, "Wow, dude." Missed that.
But
shit.
even I
Go
mean,
ahead, Silver.
even with those caveats, you don't really accomplish anything by throwing out like the specific numbers. Like just
I don't
be
think those are
vague about it.
caveats. I think they're not caveats. Those, I mean, they were trying to add into it, and you don't get anything. You're right. You never get. It's 500 hours. It doesn't even if you say it was 10 hours, people would be, it's too short. Just leave it out.
Mm.
No matter
And
what.
if it's like to collect shit on the map, like in
to
the
me, that's
classic Assassin's
just as
Creed,
bad, though.
any amount of hours is too many hours to just be collecting shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there are exceptions. Like, you know, Spider-Man did it pretty well, where, you know, it was actually fairly satisfying to collect stuff around the map with the backpacks. And
Right. What were you gonna say, Silver? Go ahead.
No, just like the best approach is to just be vague about it, I think, because otherwise you change the entire conversation. You change the conversation away from, oh, the game is bigger and better, to the specifics of, oh, how many hours is it specifically? And you get into like nitty-gritty shit about that rather than the conversation about what is the game going to be and is it going to be bigger and whatnot. When you give out numbers in that
Yeah,
way.
hours have become resolution, right? In some way, people want to peg a number on it. It's weird. And
Yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. I would, if somebody asked me, I'd be like, well, we have some people with 25 hours, some people with 70 hours, some people with 500 hours, and then just walk off. Or
Yeah, I mean,
always
I
be
don't-
above a certain number, because then
I-
at least you sort of
I
hit that.
don't understand why there are so many game developers or like game marketing people who think that like that's like some kind of specific number milestone is like a flag to plant for for some nebulous purpose that I can't really figure out, because I mean I've never seen anybody get excited for like a number like that.
No,
Like,
in fact, it's the opposite.
Even
Where
back
somebody,
when like Ubisoft did it with like with Odyssey, when they announced, I don't remember however many hours they said Odyssey was going to be, but that was huge back then as well. and encountered a similar conversation. I mean, it's just these marketing departments that seem to have sort of lost their way on that a little bit.
I think you're right. I think the conversation is almost never, I can't wait to spend 500 hours. It's somebody surprised they spent 500 hours. And that's why the magic of gaming is the response after, and to me. So I
Right.
know that a lot of people are like, the journeys. I get that. I get that the journey and waiting is cool. But to me, when somebody says, oh my God, I have 500 hours, that to me is much more exciting than somebody saying you can do I can do whatever I want. I can idle on the Steam screen and
Right.
get 500 hours on my profile if I want. But when somebody comes into the Discord and says, like we just had, I can't remember what game it was. Oh, dude, Andromeda. No, it wasn't Andromeda, which also got brought up. But it was another game, and somebody's like, I have this many hours in it, and people were just mortified because it's not, it wasn't considered great. But at the same time, you're fascinated by it. You're like, really? Dude, that's terrible, but really? Like, how do it's almost like it's almost like those pickers websites or something where you can watch somebody pop a pimple. You're just it's so grotesque, but at the same time, you're like, this is pretty fucking cool that somebody did that. Well, maybe not cool, but interesting. 500's ridiculous though. Ridiculous. This person said I put 700 or 270 hours in Zelda, and I did not get close to finishing it. I mean, then you're a terrible gamer. Just joking. But there's not 270 hours of real content in that, is there? In Breath of the Wild? Is there 270 hours of like full content, or is it just grindy content? I mean, is it like, it's not new places?
I mean, depends on what you mean by real content. If you want to go around and collect all the Karak seeds, then yeah.
Oh God. Oh God.
I got like testicular pain just
yeah, like you're like, man,
That was a cold shower. Right
I think
up
that
the
just
spine.
gave me a hernia. I got a game hernia from lifting up the idea of that. I have 500 hours in Inquisition. That's what it was. What the? Leave the hinterlands, dude. It'd be either 25 hours or 40 hours. This dude's got 500 hours in Inquisition. Like, leave the hinterlands. It's only a 30-hour game. The hinterlands, man. I remember leaving the hinterlands and going exploring, and the goddamn game had a quest going back to the hinterlands. And I was just like, no, are you kidding me? Such a terrible place. Such a terrible place. Let's see. Were it possible to get 100 hours rather than 40 of something I love like Mass Effect and none of it was repeated content, that would be a win for me. I think that's exactly what we're all hoping for, right? Is like good long content without, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy surprised me because it was pretty much start to finish, new stuff. And it wasn't 40 hours, but I'm saying for those games, I expected a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
I mean, especially for an open world game.
Yeah. I was in the hinterlands for like 30 hours. Man.
Jesus, man.
Dude,
like the opening chapter in Final Fantasy 15. I think that's also at least half the game time.
True. Or
But
that
it's amazing.
prologue in Red Dead 2 in the snow. No,
Well,
never again.
Oh God.
Never
That was
again.
always
So
quick for me.
slow. It's
Dude,
glacial.
it's glacial. It's like, oh my God. And I was reviewing it, just going like, it won't stop, Dad. Like, please, somebody come save me this fucking And when it finally got over, I was actually in a weird way feeling like I got done with a game. It wasn't 8 hours long. It's just that it was so glacial, and you're just like, oh no, is the entire game like this? Luckily, no. Even though horse, they took a long time to make sure the horse's balls extended during hot moments, but
that is important.
yeah, it is important.
Attention to detail. Right. That's
Troy
Let's
Addict
mention that
says,
your horse stopped to take a crap every like 5 feet.
I got 437 hours in Cyberpunk, Troy says. I have 700
Doing what,
hours
bro?
in Monster, getting it to run. I have, I have about 700 hours in Monster Hunter World and 300 in Rise. Yeah. I mean, I could see those games.
yeah. I mean, those games like MMOs, right? Like I got over 300 or 400 in Final Fantasy.
Dying Light, I was thinking about this a few days. No, I'm sorry, not Dying Light, but State of Decay. I was thinking about you could technically play that forever you know, and it's a single
Yes.
player game. I play it single player more, even though I love multiplayer. I still play it single
Yeah.
player more.
Or like
But it's
roguelite games. It's
Roguelike
almost
games, yeah.
endless.
Yeah. Curtis says, yeah, maybe 40 hours of Monster Hunter World is unique. Everything else is grinding. Probably. Santiago says, I have 1,000 hours in trying to get laid. Still a failure, though.
How is that? I was gonna ask you,
Still
how's
not-
that
Still
panning out?
didn't work. Yeah. 400 hours in Oblivion. Oh, Oblivion makes sense, right? Brandon has 1,500 hours in Mario Maker 2.
Wow.
All right.
Is Mario Maker 2 the last of them, or is there a third or a fourth? Or
No, this 2 was the current one.
Yeah, it's the newest one. Yeah,
And
which is understandable because I mean that gives you the freedom to just
yeah, that's
play
what
around
that's
with
what
it
it's
and make
about, right?
your own stuff and whatnot. Yeah.
Milladej, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, and I'm sure I did. I honestly love the slow beginning in Red Dead 2. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with it either, but I hear you.
450 hours in Witcher 3, one playthrough, he says.
Wow.
I mean, Witcher's
You
definitely one of
probably
those games
played a
with
lot of Gwent.
content. Yeah.
I would
Played a
also
lot of Gwent.
I would also assume that includes the DLC.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe, but I mean, I know people who have that many hours. in just
200
the-
hours Gwent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh God.
I mean, without the DLC, the original game took me like I think 170 hours on Death March.
Yeah, I
complete.
mean, it's definitely one of the few single player games that has a good amount of, you know, like, and you can explore in Witcher, just like
Yeah.
Red Dead. You can explore. It's not the same as like Rise, where you sort of know where you're going, or Monster Hunter World, where
True.
you know if you can explore and you have different experiences while you're exploring, random enemies. That's why I see Oblivion. And it doesn't really surprise me too much when somebody says they have 400 hours.
Yeah.
Now, Oblivion was crash
Right.
happy for me. So I probably had 2,200 hours just getting that thing to not crash or remove the scaling from the enemies.
But I gotta tell you, man, in those games, super quick,
No, go for
there's
it.
always this conflict of urgency between your main quest and doing all this random shit
It's
on the
always
side.
fucked.
Gotta rescue Siri. I'll be there in 200 hours.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna
Dude.
play some Gwent, rescue some random passersby.
Fallout 4.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's the entire main quest is put on hold. The entire main quest
Yeah.
is put on. They do it all the time. They're like, this child is dying. That's why Divinity Original Sin made a joke about it and said the child's dying. Go get something, and you come back later and the kid's dead. And you're like, oh, that's interesting.
I don't remember that. That's amazing.
Yeah, it was actually a very big deal that that Larian Studios had stated that they wanted to make time matter. If time matters, it's going to matter. It doesn't have to matter for every quest, but if you have a worry that it may matter, that's what's awesome. Like how now I get some people get mad. I've had people be like, dude, if this person gives you a quest and you say no, not right now, they never come back. And they get mad. They're like, I want to be able to do all the content in one save game. And I'm like, fuck you, man. You messed up. You messed up. Like, that's on you. I don't care. I'm
Isn't
okay
that
with that.
awesome, though?
I love
the
it.
feeling that it actually matters.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
it's
I love it.
It's the same issue that I have with Elder Scrolls, where they want to pick because it just all the role playing falls apart when you're like the head of the Thieves Guild, the Dark Brotherhood, the Mages, College of Mages, and the Fighters Guild, like the companions, like all at once on one character, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you're like the Jeff Bezos of.
I want to thank Micah, a new member for the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Also, it looks like we've sold 5 shirts. We sold Gamer Type Guardian A, Gamer Type ACG, Dog. Oh, the dog. Good morning, dog. And the Guardian shirts and the Onai shirts. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. I had forgot to always pin this stuff up. So go ahead.
And I would have less of an issue with it if it wasn't for the fact that the game keeps trying, even if I make like an active decision not to engage with, say, like the Winterhold College missions in Skyrim, the game still constantly tries to pull me into those quests. Like, I can't just say, just shut me out of that. I don't want any part of it. It keeps going,
Just
no, yeah, you do. Yeah,
unsubscribe.
you do. Come on. Yeah.
Abbreviated reviews. This is Indio, a longtime patron. He says, I don't have many single-player games with high hours played. Nothing over 150 hours. Tons of multiplayer, though. All right. 620 hours in Witcher 3 across 3 playthroughs. 200 hours in Bloodborne. I have 400 hours in ACG. Just in me, baby. That sounds very dirty, but good for you, Remedy Talon. Wood says, a person who does this for a living is going to have a different experience than a casual gamer. Not so much. At least I haven't. Brandon says, you know there will be people putting 2,000 hours into Elden Ring. Man, I don't know if I would be able to put 2,000 hours in any Dark Souls style game. Dylan says, I love when time matters in games. Sebastian Cooper says, so I'm just going to put this out there. I really do believe Dying Light and Elden Ring are both coming to Xbox Game Pass day one, baby. Ion77799, people going in both directions take it too seriously. AAA should provide quality substance regardless if they charge $70. I think anybody charging $70 should have $70 worth of content.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, right? I'm not going to give an indie dev like some kind of leeway. I don't know if they're true indie. I don't know if they've contracted like.
If they charge that, they charge that, and then should be judged by that.
Exactly.
Price point,
you guys saw Game Pass rolled out the old Hitman.
Shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny. A lot of people are like, "Oh shit, I just bought it." It's like, sorry, but for those people who haven't played Hitman,
I'm not surprised Hitman 3 entered Game Pass, but I am surprised Hitman 1 and 2.
Why is that?
Came back.
Oh, came back. Gotcha. Is there a reason why?
Yeah, it's been out for like a year, and both the previous ones have been on part of Game Pass in the past. So,
gotcha. Yeah, I mean,
dude, that's just so nice though for someone who hasn't played. Like all of a sudden you can play all those levels, right? Because you just boot up Hitman 3 and you have all of them, right?
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, you still need to like add the Hitman 1 and 2 to like your library so that you can.
No, I gotcha there, but just saying that it would be included in that.
Yeah.
So
it's just cool because it's like it's a game, some people for whatever reason hold off on. They just hold off on them. And there's so many people in here where it's like, I'll be in the Discord and I'll be like, hey, Hitman 3, and somebody will be like, I don't know if I want to play it, blah, blah, blah. And the idea that it's on Game Pass now is really nice. Now, is it on PC version of Game Pass too? Or just Xbox?
I would assume not, only Xbox. I don't think they've integrated the Windows.
Oh, because
servers.
It was also Epic Store. Hitman 3 was Epic Store. So
sorry, people.
It's it's launching. It's releasing on Steam here January 20th.
Okay, sorry, people. I'm eating up butterscotch candy. Dude, I love butterscotch. I found out I like butterscotch a couple weeks ago. I didn't even know. I think when I grew up, I did. Well, as a kid, I don't think I did because I don't remember it. But I randomly had some, and I was like, "Ooh, what's butterscotch come from? Is it is it just a confection, like completely artificial, or is there like a a delicious tree that tastes like? Oh, yeah. I was hoping there was a tree out there where the bark, if you chewed on
caramel
it,
trees, like shedding caramel.
Sadly, Willy Wonka's chocolate factory is not.
Yeah, everybody in the nation is just huge because they're just gnawing on trees,
just sucking on tree branches.
Either that, or they're like tiny, like the Oompa Loompas.
Yeah. Let's see.
One of the two extremes.
Let's see. Hopefully, it's a new trilogy package that they're selling, so it might be more like Mass Effect Legendary. Let's see. Legendary system, by the way, everybody has the mod, as we talked about. Tristan Martin says, $10 super chat, says, hey, guys, I recently joined the Patreon. I was wondering if Discord is on the Android since I don't have PC. Yes, Discord. Well, and Discord also works in browser,
everywhere.
So it's available everywhere,
Yeah, browser, Android.
In fact, I've had to use the browser multiple times when, like, the Windows version is, like, and you can sign into any browser and use it. Yeah. We'd love to have you in there. Discord's been hopping lately.
Absolutely.
We have a bunch of new people in there. So,
and a couple of old ones who have returned. Yeah.
Wood says, you guys have to review games, so time is of the essence. Casual gamers, there is no time restraint. Completely incorrect. Not only is there many times not a time restraint for me, but as you guys have probably noticed in here, there's a time restraint for gamers many times.
Oh, yeah.
Far more than me. That's a complete myth, man. It's been a myth forever.
Most
I've done videos
of the day,
on it.
I don't have time to play anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, it's weird because people have asked me, like, do I play more games as a reviewer or less? And I would say probably less. Like, I play because you force the time in sometimes when because I come after work and I'd be like, if I'm going to play games, I need to play between like 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. and then work out at 8 or something like that. So there was this forced, but if you're a reviewer, you can just put it off and be like, I'll play a game tomorrow or something like that. Yeah, it's not at all true. It's something that's changed for years. I mean, you even see it in here where people are like, dude, I don't have time for this. Where as a reviewer, sometimes I can make more time. So, and I think it averages out, but yeah, it's just not really true. Every Skyrim game is not the same. Well, true. Oh, talking about mods. I love Dragon Age, but wasn't feeling Mass Effect till I played Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and I bought it after putting some hours into ME1. Good game. Good game. I've played Mafia Definitive Edition through 2 times with 10 hours each playthrough and felt totally fine with paying that price. Was Mafia Definitive Edition expensive, guys?
No, it was,
no, not
it was full
particularly.
price standard from what I remember.
Oh,
right,
okay.
60 or so.
I think it
don't
got
remember
cheaper
entirely.
quite quickly, and there was also like epic vouchers and stuff you could use.
Hey, speaking of that, speaking of I just want to quickly ask, has anybody got GTA Trilogy and played through that awesome, wonderful piece of software?
No.
A big fat no on that one.
It's terrible. I finally was like, I'll check it out. Wow. Like, I'm legit surprised at the shit quality of that game. And I mean, we're talking shit tier. We're not talking AAA poor tier. We're talking that is a shit tier game. That game crashed on me multiple times. It's got horrendous FPS, and it still looks like dog shit. Like, I'm pretty amazed that ever came out. I can see why I got removed from the store. I'm actually amazed that, yeah, that was actually disturbing to realize the price of that. And this was the first time I'd finally got a chance to play it. And it was, I wish I could have, it was maybe an hour or 20 minutes, maybe. And it felt like 16 fucking hours of just plodding through this. It's worse than mods. You know, sometimes a game.
Oh, have you seen the comparison screenshot?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like, how is it possible that
like
game
the
looks
mods looked legit
way
good.
better, way better. Anyway,
no wonder they took them down.
yeah, it was terrible, man. It was some sad shit. But I would like to. Would you guys play a GTA 4 remake with Nico?
No, I never liked Nico.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
But I mean, I don't really think it's necessary. Like, I would play GTA 4 even like the standard PC version.
Right, but I'm talking about a remake. Would
like
you play it? Would you buy another one and play it as a remake?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I wouldn't see the need for it.
Because you do have no issue playing the original, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. What about you, Reg? I'm sorry, I didn't hear your answer for that one.
I said, yeah, maybe I would.
Maybe.
I do like those games.
I'm more on Johnny's. Man, Nico's just so fucking unhappy and dreary, and I think I would have to be in a certain mindset to play it. I did like what happened in that game.
But then you have his polar opposite, his cousin Roman.
Yeah, but then he calls you all the time, and you're like, seriously, he's just like my mom and
Yeah,
dad.
he does.
He's just like my mom and dad. Like, we get around holidays, phone's ringing every 3 minutes. Are you posting the podcasts on Spotify? Yes, I am. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they remake that. I had heard some rumors about some other remakes, so that'll be cool. We got GTA 5 coming for the next-gen consoles, which will be cool. And then we have Saints Row, which comes out Saints Row's got delayed, didn't it? I think Saints Row got delayed. I'm almost sure it got delayed. So, Dying Light. We got some big open world games this year. We were talking about it.
Saints Row reboot now releases on end of August.
Also still have for January. We still have the Rainbow Six Extraction.
Oh yeah, we do. Oh, speaking
coming.
I gotta check something. Yeah, Rainbow Six Extraction's coming. That'll be on Game Pass. Another game on Game Pass. This is something I said on Irelords. I don't know if you guys agree, but if personally, if you track Microsoft's day one third-party stuff, it's always multiplayer co-op games. It's obvious Microsoft feels they have a weakness there. Back 4 Blood, Extraction, second Extraction, whatever that is. Now you've got this
Deep Rock Galactic.
Deep
back
Rock
in the day.
Galactic. I mean, I'm not lying when I say when I looked back and started tracking Outriders, guys, it's obvious somebody at Microsoft thinks that's their gap, right? Or it's a
Right.
game that fits in Game Pass. I would say it's a mixture of both. But
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me to see, once Back for Blood came, it doesn't surprise me to see any others come out. I guess
True.
I guess with this one, the only thing is like, does it mean more? Like, does this deal mean we're going to see even more after, like, extra from Ubisoft? And I think we talked about it a little last week, but it's like when I was talking with the Iron Lords guys about it on Sunday, I still believe that this isn't the main deal. It feels like it wouldn't be the main deal, and that there's something like, I don't know if in the future we'll see another, because Ubisoft's just the whore of Babylon, man. They really are. They'll do whatever, go whatever.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't matter what they're doing. So it just feels to me like we're gonna see some more stuff from them. Do you guys? Nobody's doing Extraction but me, though, right? I think I'm the only one. who's
Well,
really
I mean, it's on Game Pass. I'm gonna
I-
check it out.
I
Okay.
think I will check it out actually. Yeah, and if we get a chance to play as a
Yeah.
group, that'd be fun.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
wouldn't have bought it, but now that it's on there, sure.
Yeah.
It's a good way to do it, right? I mean, Outriders, I feel the same. Sorry. But Outriders was sort of like... Do you guys think if Anthem had been
Well,
day one game on Game Pass, Anthem would still be around? Like,
No.
no, wait, can't answer yet. Just for a second, be completely honest. Do you think the numbers would have been at like in that middling range, just high enough where EA would have continued to nurse it along like a weakened baby, just forever, just that weak tit baby? You don't kill it, but you still keep it around.
I
So you
don't
can
know. EA
claim
is
it on
not
taxes.
really known for keeping stuff around.
But it's Game Pass.
Yeah, I don't think.
Well,
so.
they did drop the robot game, didn't they? And that was on Game
The only thing that I could imagine in that scenario is that maybe it would have had enough players for them to actually put in the work to improve it, and
Right.
then maybe turn it around.
I don't know. I don't know. It just.
But,
go ahead. Go for
I mean,
it.
I don't think so, because
don't?
I think no. I mean, it might have addressed some issues, because I mean, one of the biggest issues with Anthem was just the state of its launch and the
Yeah.
sort of the regression from there, as other issues came along, that sort of scared away and alienated the player base, so that they basically went away and never really came back.
Right.
Where, I mean, I think that would obviously still have happened with the initial player base. They would still have been scared away. But the fact that it would have been on Game Pass then might have meant that maybe more players who hadn't gotten in at the release maybe would have given it a chance.
Okay.
That's really the only possibility I see.
What do you guys think in chat? If Anthem had been released on Game Pass, would it still be sticking around? Probably the only one who thinks it. But for some reason, I just feel like it would have had just enough, that EA would have like nursed it, because they did try to remake it for a while. So it's obvious they
Yeah.
they were like, they resuscitated it. They tried to figure out how to keep it going. They just couldn't, or switch it up. But man, what a freakishly weird game to get launched. That was such an
Yeah.
odd launch, man, to play that and be like, this has so many weird design decisions.
Mm.
Or
And I
most,
mean,
I think most of them are gone.
I mean, sadly, it was much the same as with Andromeda, right? Which
Yeah.
basically ended support like 6 months after launch.
Kel
Like
says
the-
no, because whether it's on Game Pass or not, it still sucks. That doesn't mean anything. We got Game Pass games that suck.
I think that
don't think
Game Pass, you may be onto something, because Game Pass generates a lot of goodwill in people,
It does.
because you're not paying for the game, right? So a game, for just to give an example, Back for Blood, I had a lot of fun playing it with you guys, and the fact that I didn't pay for the game, I just kind of had free access through, not free, included in Game Pass. That actually made me appreciate it a lot, because I was like, whoa, I got some good times, and I didn't have to pay for it, and if I had encountered bugs, for example, which I didn't, I would be way more lenient
Of course,
on them,
yeah.
right? Of course, it just stands to reason. So I could definitely see that.
You got to come back and play too,
I mean,
because we're going to play this weekend.
Yeah, let's
Back
do
4
it.
Blood.
It is worth noting that, I mean, Anthem did kind of have just a lesser version of Game Pass in that it was on Origin Access.
Yeah.
Oh, true,
Like,
true.
it was part of like EA's own subscription service where you
yeah,
could
it's just
pay,
that there's
pay the
sucks.
monthly fee and play it. Yeah, I mean, for like a FIFA player or whatever,
Right,
Oh,
makes sense for
maybe
them.
It works, right?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
It should
But,
just be
uh,
called FIFA Pro, right? I
right.
mean, when you look at
Yeah, or Sims, right?
Yeah.
If you were to
Oh,
actually
dude.
buy the
Yeah.
DLC.
Yeah.
Sims is not included.
Sims is
No.
not included. Yeah. Well, wait a minute.
Well,
wait a
no,
minute. Sims is
the
given
core
away
game
quite
is.
often.
The base
The core,
game.
Yeah.
the core
Yeah.
game is, yeah,
But not
the
all of
expansion
the
packs are
DLC.
not,
Right.
no.
Right.
Oh,
No
no,
way.
shit.
But I mean,
Wow.
admittedly, a lot of the DLC is like go and feel bad and clean up a beach. So it's like it's not necessarily
Those
like
were
you're
the newer ones. Yeah.
small house, cozy house. You're just like, what is happening with this game?
It's just a
so
smaller house.
Yeah, dude. And they sold it as anyway. Long story short, but I think with Origin, we don't talk about Origin enough that people sometimes forget there's a subscription for Origin.
Yes.
So with Game Pass, I think there is a wider variety of people on there. But
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah, I guess you guys are right. I don't know. I just feel like Game Pass, like Johnny said, it's like it's free. I could tell Johnny was playing that way when we were playing Back for Blood because he was just like, I'll like you get the. And
like
to me, the
expectation bar is low, right?
Right.
Because you didn't pay like full price for a game.
Right. And
So-
it doesn't feel stressed. Oh, I paid, so I need to download it right away so I can play it right away because I bought it, so I need to get the return. It's like, I'll download it. You guys look like you're having fun. And then suddenly you're having
Yeah.
fun. You're like, whoa. And then you get the rebound where you're like, dude, this was actually a good time for free. And then that's when you buy DLC and stuff, you know. And in fact, Back for Blood has stated that their upcoming content is going to be like DLC characters and stuff like that, which I totally get. But
Cool.
it feels like that's a way where these companies are doing it. I'm glad Anthem isn't because I don't want to buy suits for Anthem. I think Anthem's gameplay cycle sucked. It was 3 minutes long. It was like 3 minutes, done. 3 minutes,
Well, and
done.
5 minutes loading screens.
And
to
5
get
minutes
anywhere.
loading screens. But yeah, I was just wondering what you guys thought. So looking at the news, I don't want to talk about Serious Sam right now. I want to talk about, you guys saw Take-Two bought Zynga? Zynga?
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
wants to anyway.
How much was that?
13 billion.
It's so dumb.
Wow.
now. It's so dumb. Like the numbers are so high that it doesn't make, when you hear a billion, I don't think people,
Yeah.
like that's just stupid. It's like, okay.
For 12.7 billion to be.
Farmville has come
Precise.
a long way.
yeah. Ew.
Wait,
Well, also,
forgive
did you
me.
see that they announced that they want to buy them for 12.7 million? And their stock price dropped down by like 15% because investors were like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's the problem with investors, right? You never, if you skew one way in an
Because
announcement.
apparently the offer for that purchase is like 60% over the market value of that company.
So we talked
Yeah.
about this, didn't we? I think we talked about this with Bethesda, that the prices are going up and they're bloating. And so
Yep.
you've got this artificial increase on development, and it does feel like people are getting burned. I mean, you're going to have to offset. That is a lot of money, man. I don't know. I don't even
Oh, yeah.
know what to say. Like that's,
So is Zynga like a mobile
yeah.
Yes.
game?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Farmville
Yeah.
developer.
Yeah.
And think back
Originally.
to all of Bethesda cost like 7.5 billion for Microsoft.
I don't even know
Twice
what
as much.
Farmville is. That sounds like a Facebook.
It was
Okay.
Facebook originally.
Okay,
I don't
okay.
know if it still is or if it's on mobile now. or
This is
whatever.
one of the reasons why I have a question, and I don't want to talk out of pocket here because of some of the people I talk to. So let me think about this. Some companies, we don't know at all what they're making because they don't have to. Like Microsoft will merge Xbox into something if they maybe don't sell well one year, and you can sort of tell because they'll be like, you know, integration numbers, and you're like, what's integration mean? You know, they sort of change terms and stuff like that, especially if they're doing poorly. The question is why is it 60% over? And why'd they do it? And then how much money is Farmville making? And sometimes
Not a lot. in
But-
comparison by the purchase price.
No, sorry. I mean, how much is it made? I apologize. Over the years.
All right. Yeah.
To offset those kind of purchases. Same way when Microsoft bought Minecraft. Do you guys remember that? You were just
Oh,
like
yeah.
sitting there going, Minecraft?
But everyone already has Minecraft.
Everybody already has it, and-
Clearly not. Yeah.
Clearly not. Microsoft made a killing by killing
Yeah.
the amount of money that they like. The amount of money was unbelievable, and so no one, and they're making bank from. I don't know, man. Sometimes I think these, we talk about. I guess what I'm getting to is we talk about gambling and stuff, and we talk about kids and microtransactions, and sometimes I'm wondering like where are people hiding the amount of money that some games truly make? It feels like some of these
Right.
games out there, who's buying into Farmville? And how much is really being spent is way more being spent than we think into some of these things. And even we think the numbers
Well,
are high.
I mean, the answer is clearly yes.
It's
but-
clearly yes. It's it's
Yeah.
clearly yes by 60% for Zynga or whatever. I don't know how much that is. Does Zynga owe?
Zynga's yearly revenue seems to be 2 billion.
So their plan must be to roll that stuff out somewhere else, because that's not exactly
Well,
what
what I've been reading there is that
Yeah.
they want to make them the spearhead of their own new mobile efforts.
Right. Okay. I don't know, man.
Well,
Well,
we'll have to see.
yeah, somebody got paid, man. And problem
Oh, yeah.
is, those
Quite
12
a
billion,
bit.
none of it went to Joe Blow, art
Mm.
guy who made an arrow
Yeah.
in a city game,
No.
right?
Yeah.
It's an insane amount of money. It's just crazy, all these. I had forgotten that Bethesda cost half of that. That's
Yeah.
mind-blowing.
Oh wow. That
Dude, you said,
perspective
I
is-
don't even know what Farmville is. If somebody came to me and said, I don't know what Bethesda is, or I don't know what Skyrim is, I'd punch him in the mouth. I'd be like, of course
Yeah.
you do. Quit being a jackass. But I firmly believe that you didn't. And yet, half that. That's where
Wow.
microtransactions are making bank that we're not. Somehow it doesn't feel like it's always being tracked. And I mean, we
Yeah,
all
I
know
mean-
people are finding ways to not track it. I'm not pretending like it's brand new. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's why you've heard so many developers over the past like 6-7 years talk about mobile gaming. I mean, you had
Yeah.
like 5 years ago, Peter Molyneux of all people talking about how mobile gaming was everything now, because now like when he put out like a mobile game, more people would play that than had ever played all of his previous Bullfrog and Lionhead games combined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so-
they raised a bunch of money, Silver, with the NFT. Did you hear about that? Peter Molyneux? He did
Yeah,
an
yeah,
NFT
yeah.
and
With his-
they
yeah.
banked. They banked. I bet you
Virtual land sale.
virtual land
whatever.
sale. I
Yeah.
bet you he's walking
Yeah.
away from that right now completely 10 billion times better than he would have ever been being like the head of Microsoft Games or
Sure.
even Lionhead or anything like that. It's ridiculous. They made a good amount of money. These NFT things, I'm going to sell ACG land and just be like, there's a game coming in the future at some particular point. I've got one developer working on it using blueprints on Unreal.
And he's only working on the website
and
to
he's-
sell that shit.
He's
and
only
nothing
working on the
else.
website to sell it. Dude, it's amazing. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people making bank, man. A lot of people making bank from it. It's just
So I was looking at the same time at like development data from Zynga, and I mean, if the trend continues, I can see it because it's going up like 50% the revenue each year.
oh, is it?
Whoa. Did you say 50? 50?
50%.
What the
Yes.
hell, man?
How-
Well, phones
that
being more
is-
powerful does help too, Johnny. When you get a more
That's
powerful
true.
phone and you can jump in there,
That
is
is
something.
disgusting, though.
Yeah, that
that
is
is
Like 2000, it's 2018, 0.9 billion. 2019, 1.3
Ooh,
billion.
hey, guys.
2020, 2 billion.
Paul M brings something interesting up. He says the Zynga acquisition is probably something to do with the metaverse.
Mm.
That is probably true. Some kind of, I mean, they're all going to do it,
Launching.
right? This metaverse bullshit where like you pretend it's one verse. I'm not.
Oh, did
gonna
you see, by the
waste
way,
time.
is that the Second Life founder was like, hey, bitches, we did that a long
Dude,
time
Second
ago.
Life is like the parent who sees the great
Oh, yeah.
grandkid do something
They're like,
wrong.
fuck it, we were too early.
And they're like, that too. But what I'm saying is see him make the same mistakes and be like, when I was a kid, I also did that, and I'm telling you it's wrong, and the kid's still doing it anyway. People don't realize. Go check out Second. I'm telling you right now, if anybody tells you this can't be done, Second Life has not only proved it can be done. There's a robust set of features.
20 years ago, they've already
20
been doing
years,
everything that people try
These
to
guys
tell
are
you that you
liars,
need
man.
NFT
They're
stuff for.
just fucking liars. It's so. And what's weird is Second Life. The reason why people don't bring that up as much, fucking. It's so based on sex.
Yeah.
Second Life has the
Oh, yeah.
kink verse, and I've got people in our Discord who are belong to the adult, parts of Second Life, which is a lot of it.
Wait, is there non-adults?
Yeah, there is very small, very small section, about 6 inches of it. But there's all this stuff
Right.
that is on Second Life, and I think that people stepped away from Second Life because, to be honest, even the name sounds a little sexual. Like, this is
It
your
does.
second life, right? This
To,
is-
to the point, I always assumed it
I
was
know.
just a sexual thing.
and it's not.
Well,
There is, but there's music concerts. Like, there's all kinds of crazy stuff.
Right.
That by the way, they did music concerts prior to Fortnite even being fucking Fortnite.
Yeah.
Wow.
They had full on
But
rap.
can you
concerts.
remember like 15 years ago or so where some governments even got on that stuff?
Yes. It's just like, and that's
Oh
why.
yeah, they rented servers for like tourism attraction
Yep.
and stuff like that.
And that's why I'm
Like, it
telling
was
you
a big
guys,
thing.
if you're watching and you ever hear about like this fucking, any of this kind of stuff from these
Like
companies
video game Epcot.
pretending that they need NFTs, like I'm not just complaining, man. I've never been complaining
I
about
mean, it's-
microtransactions. This is something
It's
that is
also
ridiculous.
it's also why it's so funny that people are like commending Valve like for taking that stance that no, we're not gonna allow
Valve
NFTs
already
in
had
our
their
store.
own shit.
Yeah, yes.
Dude, that's the
trading cards and the skins, etc. Yeah, they also.
Yeah.
have
You know
all that
how
stuff
two people will
already.
get in a fight, a third person will jump in, teacher sees the last two and not the guy who started it? That's Valve. That's Valve. Valve are a bunch of shit heels. They always have been shit heels, and they
I mean they helped like
helped put
pioneer that
they put
entire
it-
economy.
Exactly. They built the
Like
skeleton.
Yanis Varoufakis, who went on to become finance minister of Greece when he was with Valve.
Dude,
like,
they built the
basically
skeleton
designed that
everybody's
whole
going to look like after they starve from spending their
Well,
money.
also
on
they
NFTs.
have exactly the same scheme going on.
The digital
Like,
economy.
Every time you sell something on the Valve store, on the
Exact-
Steam store,
They get it.
they get a cut.
They get the cut. Dude,
So it's exactly the same.
it's so funny because it's like nobody will listen because they have a bad. It's almost like the person, a murderer says that an asteroid's coming. You'd be like, well, you're a murderer. Yeah. Guess what? That has nothing to do with the fucking asteroid. Right? Like, dude, seriously, asteroid. And they're like, no, you're a murderer. I'm not going to listen to you. It's like, it's right fucking there, dude. That bothers me because we're all sitting here. Second Life, all these ones have done it prior and done it without issue. Second Life, guys, is its own ecosystem. It has its own policing. It's actually a good it's a good framework to look at and say this could be the future. And Ubisoft is like, it's never been done
I mean,
before. We need NFTs.
They're the only pushback they ever really got was these like occasional articles that would pop up that would make fun of people, like
Yeah.
paying like $5,000
kink shaming.
like a virtual penis or
Yeah,
something.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of king shaming.
or like whatever that would pop up like once in a while. That was the only like sort of pushback that really came to that.
You know what bothers me about kink shaming too is we sit here and we're like, everybody should have whatever power they want as a person, right? We're like, any gender you want to use, and I'm for all of that. You should have all the power. But then the moment somebody does porn, or the moment porn is brought up, people get all cagey. They're like, oh, blah blah blah. I'm gonna destroy porn, and they're at home just jacking it. Just 20. They're like,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
removed
I
your
hate-
porn, but it's all for me. It's so creepy, man. It's so you can
I've-
see them when they
I've
talk
talked
about it.
that a lot
Yeah.
on the podcast actually, but that is one of my main peeves is people who will happily like jerk off to like a porn actress, and then when that porn actress tries to move on from that career
Yeah,
and enter something else, they'll say no, and they'll like keep shaming
they
her. No,
stopped Sasha
Yeah.
Grey from
Like,
and I get that it
what
was
the
kids,
fuck?
but they invited Sasha Grey to read a book to children. Sasha Grey, notoriously
Right.
dirty porn star, and she's like, I thought they would have. I mean, they knew I was, but then of course some parent was up there, you know, who hasn't been late in 60 years, and who gets up in her walker and is like, Sasha Grey can't be here talking to my kid. Well, she's not gagging on one while talking to the kid. What the fuck are we like? What in what world are we gonna? How long are we gonna hold things against people? And and I don't even consider holding
or teachers. Teachers, like the cases of teachers getting fired because they found that they had like on the side, like they were running maybe like a webcam business or whatever.
It's
I don't
so
care.
weird. It's so
who gives a shit?
So exactly. I just heard about that one lady. She was like a high school, you know, and somebody was like, oh yeah, a student or a parent found out. The parent went and like launched some kind of revolt with pitchforks to get this person fired and it wasn't even naked. It was like lingerie stuff. And admittedly, I don't care if she was gaping wide open, you could fly 747 inside. It's still, she can do what the fuck she wants. He can do what he wants. They can do what they want. That's all freedom. And you don't have control. And I get that what they're doing, Silver, and my company did it, the integrity statement, man. They'd be like, outside of this company, if your integrity, if we find something that like, you know, impacts the integrity, it's like, who's fucking integrity? The principal's banging the secretary. Like, and it's unfair to people.
And I mean, I would agree with that up to a point, but I don't really see how making porn is not a sign of like integrity. Or
you see that it is a sign of bad integrity if they're making porn?
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't see how it is a sign of bad integrity. Yeah. No, like, I mean, obviously depends on the porn, right?
Yeah.
But like as like a first principle. Yeah.
Well, it's also if it was like career day on the school, I could see it
Silver,
like, hey, listen, Sasha, maybe talk about the
maybe
book
talk
writing
about the
stuff.
book. Silverhand says, "Would you marry a porn actress, dude?" One of my exes is.
Why wouldn't I?
Or was in porn. Like it's just like, dude, I don't know. At some point, you're just like, I mean, things bother everybody. If somebody, I know that I dated somebody and I found out that she had an issue that I had done bankruptcy when I was younger, and I was like, what? I'd never even put that as a social stigma. Like it never even popped up in my head that this would, and of course her financial means, how she was raised, that was a thing. But I bet you if I had been banging on porn, she probably wouldn't have had an issue. But it's just weird sometimes what people have problems with.
Of course, a lot of it goes back to the fact that we are still, like, certainly in a lot of Western culture, but also a lot of other cultures, still heavily based in shame.
Oh, every culture is. If there's a culture at all,
sex.
I think. I mean, I don't know of any culture that's like, bring out your whores.
Well, I mean,
there might be
paganism
Pagans,
and whatnot is pretty. Like they're pretty into that, like orgy stuff and whatnot. Yeah,
it just bothers me, man, because it's like Second Life didn't get its comeuppance because even I didn't even realize that was a pun.
I saw what you did there.
I did not until got its. It didn't get its press because it was considered kink, and yet everything in there is more moralistically set up and has a higher integrity than anything to do with NFTs.
True.
And no one's going to listen because somebody's going to be like, there was a troll with a giant dick, right? In a second, you're like, well, yeah. That doesn't mean it won't exist in NFTs. And they're like, can't talk to trolls, giant dicks. Can't listen to you. Asteroid, doesn't matter.
The whole marketplace that's set up there, like it basically offers everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It sucks for gamers. I just, it's not going to ruin it. Somebody was like, oh man, you're saying it's going to ruin everything. No, I'm not at all. I'm saying that it could dilute the pool of talent to a different kind of gameplay mechanic that we may not like. And that to me is the biggest issue, is diluting that pool again when it's already been diluted fairly easily by microtransactions.
Yeah.
What were we going to say?
Well, if the incentives point to doing that type of stuff, then a lot of talented people will maybe end up doing that instead of stuff that
makes money, right?
Yeah, people follow the
instead,
money.
like you were saying, Bethesda is half the size of, Zynga in terms of what it was worth, I guess, like purchasing price. So that just kind of tells you there's more money in that market, which also means...
Well, I mean, there is a shit ton of money.
3 times Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
3 times Lucasfilm?
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, Lucasfilm was $4 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But there was also, I think, Oh, there was also like how long ago that Disney bought Lucas?
That would be, I think, maybe 7 years now.
Because I
6 or
think at
7
that
years.
point
10,
you
but I'm
start
not
to
sure,
see. Oh, Carrick has his phone ring. I think at that point you start to see, like money, like the value of stuff actually changes, right? So like 7 years ago, 4 billion. Maybe you'll look at today, and maybe that's close to, I don't know. I don't know if it would be like 6 or and this is back of the napkin. Reg, save me. You know the number.
Save me. Save me, Reg. Save me.
The only thing I can say is like the other day when I was scrolling through the App Store, like on the tablet,
Yes.
I spotted just scrolling, just looking through games. I spotted the first one where it says "Play to earn NFTs now."
Oh, the play to earn stuff is just. Oh.
Okay, let's go
Revolt.
positive because it's starting
go.
to actually disturb me now, and
Yeah,
I'm just
no,
going to go
let's-
on a rage.
Let's pivot.
Well, yeah, we'll come back to that in a second. Anyone think that they will have a type of DLSS but for FPS, like playing PS3 games at 30 FPS but feeling 60? Yes, it's called interpolation. It sucks currently, but there are companies working on various different ways of doing it.
Like the TV stuff.
TV stuff,
Or
yeah,
what?
yeah, and especially with
Ooh.
quantum processors, they're doing much better. Right now, you don't want to turn it on for the most part. I will say though that I've turned it on a little bit for like Witcher when I was playing a while ago with a PC that didn't run at 60 4K, and I was actually like, if you're sitting away, right? Because one of the things that people say is there's some artifacts, true, but just like super high res, if you're far away, you won't see some of those. And I was playing it going, you know what? It looks much smoother. Input rate, of course, is whatever your true video card is doing, as in latency. But it looks smoother. And I was like, I could see some people liking it. Remember when Tom Cruise released the video with the other director? They were like, don't ruin movies. Don't use TV interpolation. Which is true. It's shit on movies. Let's see. When does a game drift too far? Okay, we're not going to talk about that. Okay, let's move on. Stalker 2 delayed.
Right.
I wanted to ask you guys. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I wanted to add something positive in between, like
Go
the
for
new
it.
stuff being added for Hitman 3.
Oh, you mean
There. What? Not positive? Okay, there we go.
no? Go for it. Go for it.
For me, it was positive.
Yeah, very.
But all right. Like a new roguelike mode, a new map, customizable safe house and stuff. And that's all coming in, I don't know, sometime this year. Didn't see the date.
Okay.
Yeah, they had a rampage. No, what was it? There was a mode, the mode name, Freelancer. Because I thought they were talking about Freelancer, the video game. So I was all excited. We were getting a new Freelancer. But there's
an
Freelancer mode.
elusive target arcade mode.
Cool.
Pretty cool.
Dude,
So, I mean,
Hitman's legit. Hitman's one of those games that has more content than anybody's gonna, other than fans of it, are gonna really realize.
The freelancer roguelite mode leaves me unenthused, though I have to say.
You played it? Or you mean the idea of it leaves you
the
unimpressed?
idea of it,
Oh, okay.
idea of it, because I mean, to me, the main appeal of Hitman, it removes like the main appeal of Hitman, which is the learning the missions, planning them, like learning where everything is at that exact time, and then timing that.
Well, it's just a
Exactly.
mode, so at least you can ignore it.
Yeah.
So that mode you
Well-
probably won't be turning on much.
I think
No.
it would still apply
Fair
in the
enough.
sense that you would learn things that are doable, right? So you learn to adapt and think on your feet. Like, you're in the level and you see something, oh, I've learned that I can, use that in this particular way.
Sure, but it removes like the exact timing aspects of it,
Yes.
and the clockwork aspect that is a deeply appealing part of a lot of the Hitman levels.
Well, no, the way I read it, at least that mode, is that it encourages you to play like strategically, because you only keep the upgrades and the weapons, etc., if you make it safely back to the safe house with them.
Yeah,
That
you
improves like your play style or
Right.
your options for the next.
Yes,
map that you're going
you
to.
still have to play strategically. It's just that you do it much differently. It's not the same. You don't plan and carry
One
it out
sort of freestyle. That's why it's called
and set it up for
Freelancer.
timing
Yeah.
in the same way
get you.
that you do for.
For me, I
regular.
think it's awesome because I actually want to play Hitman more like that. So it's cool that it's a mode and
Yeah.
they didn't do what like State of Decay did and fucking delete the entire way of gameplays.
Right.
So, which is a big plus. Thomas Anderson says, if Sasha Grey, or at my age, Jenna Jameson, came in and read books in school, I bet I'd have read more books. Or saw a lot of picture books. I have a feeling you would have went and got some things with pictures in them. I'm just saying. But I get you. So,
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, or I have the book and have something else in it.
Yeah, like a kid with like a drink and it's actually alcohol. We used to have that at school.
Or maybe read like the penthouse letters or whatever.
Oh my God, those things. Dude,
I read those as a kid.
I did. I remember reading one, and it will always be stuck in my head because it brought to light a particular sentence that I never thought I would read. And once I read it, it was burned into neurons that I don't think it ever going to go. And it's not. I can say this. It means something, but there's no bad words in it. But it's, as a child, I read it, and I was like, oh my God, whitewash her brown room.
Wow.
And I remember sitting there, and that came in, and I knew what was happening in the story, and I laughed. I could not stop laughing. I felt so. Have you ever laughed so hard you panic a little bit? Because you're like, if motor mechanisms continue at this, I won't get enough breath in. I could not stop laughing, and that was a Playboy. It was like one of those letters written to the, you know, about him going to the gym and working out. You know, some chick saw him, and then he whitewashed. And I remember just going like, "What the fuck?" Because I read Tom Sawyer, and I knew what whitewashing was. I saw him whitewash the fence, and it just too many visual cues all came in at one time. Horrendous.
Oh man. Beautiful.
Let's see, what do we got? Serious Sam game officially announced. Did you guys see that? They were just like, Serious Sam's coming out this month.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, that's amazing. Oh, I mean, what is it? The side game? Do you guys? I mean, is it like here's the levels?
I think it's a full-on game.
How the hell did they do that?
Sam Siberian Mayhem.
Oh yeah, I saw that ice and stuff, right? Silverhand says, I want to say I'm a mailman and listen to the podcast when I deliver mail. Thank you guys. You are the best. Thank you very much. You say you want to say that. Are you a mailman, or are you just making up a role playing for yourself? Because it says, I want to say I'm a mailman. I'm not.
Okay.
But I'm not.
Right.
Anyway.
I just take the packages anyway.
Yeah. Drive safe. Keep safe. Thank you very much for listening. So I didn't hear anything about a new game.
No,
just
pretty much no one
price,
did,
like
up
it's
until they
$20.
started talking about it like a week ago.
Yeah. What, Reg?
I said, looking at the price, it's $20. So
$20.
It's like
I think it's
game.
Yeah, like it feels to me like maybe it was a location they couldn't get in the other game or something. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, it wasn't complete. We couldn't get this in the other game. By the way, I don't care, right? If it's fun, it's fun. It doesn't matter. I wasn't a huge fan of the last Serious Sam though, guys.
No, I wasn't either.
I think the last Serious Sam, one of the biggest problems is it was really tight.
Like the last two, frankly.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. Shadow Man, I'm interested in. Shadow Man 3. Or not Shadow Man, sorry.
Shadow Warrior.
Shadow Warrior. Shadow Man.
Right.
Shadow Man.
You know, Gears of Shadowing. It doesn't matter.
No, yeah.
That game's
These
coming out.
titles all sort of
they sort of run together. And I don't remember when that one's coming out, Shadow Warrior, but I'm gonna jump onto that one for sure. I'll get Serious Sam.
The Warriors, I don't see a date sometime this year.
I'll get it. I mean, I'm gonna get Serious Sam because I always hope 1 and 2's excellence will return. Like I'm just always like it'll get there. It'll get there, baby. Like it has to. Those games were something different. You had Quake and Doom. I don't know if you guys remember, but like Quake and Doom, they looked for a moment the same, but they played completely different. And then Unreal, and then Duke Nukem. You could say Blood in that list. I probably wouldn't add it, but then you have Shadow Warrior, and then you have Serious Sam, and they're all these older games, and it's weird to be older and see them come out after decades. You know, there's no Unreal Tournament, which kills me. I don't know why we haven't got a new Unreal. It feels like Epic would jump on that grenade, like right away.
Yeah, they had started like that something project, but they abandoned it.
They abandoned it, didn't they? Dude, if they said Unreal, let's see. So we got 99. Okay, so 1999. What would they do? 2019's already passed. We don't want to wait another fucking 10 years. But somehow they figure out a certain, anniversary. Even if they said Unreal 1999 remastered and all it was using Unreal 5's engine, and textures,
Yeah.
Oh my god. That would be the only time. You know how you get these cheeseballs who pretend to cry during trailers? By the way, I said pretend because I don't believe any of you guys are real. You know, they're like, oh my god, Pokemon, and they're crying.
Playing Facing Worlds again.
Yeah, if Unreal 1999, Facing Worlds, yeah. And Railcar, you'd probably see me. I wouldn't shed a tear, but I might pump my fist. Like, that's what you'll get from me. And if you know me, that's
like
a lot.
a slight smile. Like
Yeah,
one
there might
corner,
be.
maybe.
New video series, ACG reacts to trailers.
And it's
all
just
of
me.
them, it's like,
and
and then in one of them, you're like,
yeah, and then the
Interesting.
company knows. They're sitting there. They're like, oh my god. Epic stopped development to refocus on Fortnite. Yeah, whatever. I mean, we know, right? Unreal Tournament 4 got canceled for Fortnite. Makes sense. Fortnite obviously
Also,
is what worked.
I hate to say, but I was not crazy about Unreal Tournament 3. Like,
No, either was I. I'm talking
I really
99.
did not
I
like
agree
that.
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. The championship ones were just not. They weren't for me. Any of the Unreal Championship games. They were almost Warhammer too, and the changing of their looks. I remember the guys sort of looked like Warhammer Space Marines. It just didn't. It didn't jive. I'm talking Unreal 1999. I'd pay somebody to fucking translate that, like that old stuff over. Just one level to see what it looked like. You know, with a lot of work to see what those look like. I love Unreal and Unreal Tournament. The only game that supported my now refunded 32:9 monitor was The Division 2. I don't know what that means. It's talking about widescreen, right?
yeah.
First online games played through 56K modem. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. I remember playing it 56K. What do we got for Game Pass games, Reg? Or not Game Pass, free games.
Yes. Okay. On the Epic Game Store, free for free, really free. Galactic Civilizations 3.
Ooh.
Uh,
Yeah, baby.
and on okay, well, I mean that's cheat. We're skipping that one because that's free to play now anyway. Then on PC Game Pass, not so longer totally free, but subscription. We have the Anna Cruises.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Spelunky 2, and that's it. Yep. PlayStation Now we had already last time. Just scrolling down for new stuff. There we go. Xbox Game Pass for Xbox, so not the PC. Also the Anna Cruises, also Spelunky 2, Ember, and coming this week, no, next week, Nobody Saves the World, and the Hitman trilogy, as well as Rainbow Six Extraction. That's it. Short list.
Oh, really? That's it? That's it?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Wow. Anna Crucis, I know. Oh, go ahead.
Just I would think Extraction is only for Xbox, right? I would be surprised.
That's
if
also
it's
for
PC.
PC.
Oh, interesting.
Cool.
I'm not sure how they'll integrate that with Uplay.
Skexy. Yeah, I don't know either. But free is free. Even if it
Oh,
takes
it's
a couple
probably-
steps, that'd be cool.
It's probably like the ePlay stuff where you have to go to the Origins launcher, right?
Mm.
Also
But
on the
you
same
play-
date on PC, Rainbow Six Siege, like the main game, is coming to Game Pass PC.
Mm.
Yes, toxic community for the win.
Fuck yeah.
It's just take the yeah away. Just constantly F bombs. What do you think of PSVR 2? Never bought a never bought a VR headset with the hardware this one got. I might actually finally buy one. I don't know. What do I think about PSVR 2's games? Is what you should ask. Because without games, guess what's going to happen to that VR system?
It's gonna get
Yeah,
ported to
we
PC
touched
by
on it
someone.
last week, right?
Yeah.
If they bring back the games that are already there and like,
That'd
maybe
be one
touch them
step,
up or
yeah.
or make them nice, that'd be cool.
That'd be
Sure.
cool. I mean, because they're gonna need it, but like I want to see games. Like I don't know what they're gonna do, and I'm open to whatever they do. But I've
Yeah.
lived through it enough with all VR systems. Even Oculus, which has a ton of exclusive, doesn't have enough to make a lot of people go, I want to spend $300 or $400. Plus,
Well,
you got to
I
get
mean-
the PS5 in the first place.
Exclusives you actually want to play for more than like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, right. Yeah, especially VR, right? VR's got to
Yeah.
bite you. Like, there's a couple games in VR that bite me where I'm like, I cannot wait to continue to play this. But most of the time, you'd be like, oh, it's got good graphics. Meh. And then, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So does my monitor. So,
Yeah, exactly. And it's not, I can't, and it's like your headset will be there and you'll lean back so you can barely not touch it. You'll be like, can't reach it. Sorry. Just going to play the pancake version. Yeah. It'll be cool to see what happens, and I can't wait. I hope it pushes it. Rogerico Tuzan, first time catching a podcast live. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much. Anacrusis is garbage, Colin says. Now, I've been getting a lot of emails about that game, and I don't know why. It must be an Xbox exclusive, Anacrusis. I'm just bringing that up because normally I won't get a bunch of emails about something unless it's exclusive, because one side or the other wants to talk about it. Have you guys seen anything about it? It was a horror game. Looks like a horror, like, walking through either a school or a complex, one of those kind of games. It's probably just not for me. I need a little bit more. Need a little bit more to jump in. My missus bought me a Valve Index for Crimbo. I'm thinking you're meaning Christmas, unless Crimbo is like a mixture of Christmas and Akimbo. 2 Christmases. Motherfucker.
Man, that is a fat Christmas gift right there, an index.
A Valve
dude.
Index? Yeah, dude.
Oof.
That's like, yeah.
Wait, what'd you get her? Because if you got her a shitty, like, do you know
Lego,
what I mean?
like a $9.99 Lego, one of those
small
Princess Bride Legos.
Lego?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found myself enjoying. Go ahead.
It looks like Crimbo is an actual word.
What is a word?
Crimbo. It's an informal word for Christmas.
Oh, I gotcha. And
Never
informal.
heard of
How could you be even more? Dude, Christmas is already pretty fucking informal. What'd you be? Whatever. Crimbo is a UK word for Xmas. Oh my God, the word is longer than the other word. That is English.
True.
That is amazing. That is humanity for you. They're like, we've already got a short word, but let's slang it up with an even longer one.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome.
It's like, what's the opposite of an abbreviation?
I don't know, man. Extendiation, but that's what that is.
Yes.
Silver, do you have an indie game of the week?
Yeah.
All right, let's break into it. What do we got?
It's a couple of months old, late last year, like in the fall. Point and click adventure game called If on a Winter's Night for Travelers.
Ooh, that came up right away.
It is actually free, so you can download it for free. It's a little reminiscent of a Lion song. A little bit. It's set in like the 1930s on a train, ostensibly the Orient Express, that you are mysteriously on as passenger, as like 4 passengers who have lost their memories, and sort of have to unravel the mystery of how they sort of wound up on the train. It's pretty dark. Deals with themes of death, grief, pain, anguish, love. It's fairly short. You can probably play through it in like an hour or 2. But it's quite good. I definitely recommend people take a look at it. Pixel art for the graphics, but I think it looks quite lovely. There are some pretty lovely locations in it. Yeah, I definitely recommend people take a look.
Yeah, look,
and it's free, so can't really hurt.
Yeah, it actually looks interesting as hell. It's got good reviews too. I mean, it's free, but it's still got good reviews. So sometimes, with a free game, people will be like, not worth buying or not worth downloading, even though it's free. That actually looks pretty good. What made you get that one? Did you just randomly see it on a list, or?
Yeah, I saw it in like somebody wrote like a retrospective of like the best games, their favorite games of the year, or most memorable games of the year, and that one popped up. I think Reg played through it as well, and I think he may actually have brought it up to me last year as well, but I just didn't get around to playing it until now.
Do you remember that one?
I don't remember if I did.
Did you play the Catman one, Reg? The point and click with the cat dude, with the cat detective? How was that one?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that the terrible one?
I thought it was, but I mean, sometimes point and clicks get bad.
I mean, there were
reviews, and I like
2, right? There was like a 3D one as well with the cat detective.
Yeah. Oh, there was. Okay, no, I'm talking about the point and click one. The 3D one did get really bad reviews. But there was one that was like a 2D detective where you're walking side to side like Thimbleweed
that
Park.
was really bad.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, it started off well enough. Like the premise was there, it was solid, but towards the end, it completely devolved. Like,
Hey,
the story made no sense. They didn't continue what they had started. Just went off to totally random places. Yeah, it was terrible, terrible end.
I think that's actually a good question, chat as well as us. What's a game that started Black Sad? Thank you. What's a game that started out amazing that turned out terrible? Like, what's a game where you turned it on and you were like, "Oh man, this has a great beginning. I can't wait," and then it just fell the F
Too
apart.
many. Yeah.
Any come to mind?
I mean, Disco Elysium for me, it was that case. I know I always mention it, sorry, but that was kind of the case.
Do you know what it was for me, man? It was After Party. The guys who made.
Oh yeah. Yes.
That because at the premise sounded like cool, and I played it in the first little bit. You're like, oh, and then it was such a cumbersome game to play through. It was just not fun to play that game. Any from you,
Yeah.
Reg? Any games that started out awesome and you were like, man, I think this is gonna rock.
Okay, Backbone was the name title. I was looking that one up.
Oh, for the.
So it was not a cat detective, but a badger detective or something.
Well, of course, yeah. It's not cats, it's badgers. Was it bad too?
That was the one I was talking about
Okay.
when I said it was terrible.
So what's a game, Reg? Do you have any games on the top of off the top of your head where the starting was amazing and then you were just like, this game sucks?
Well,
We
I
said
mean, Backbone would be that case.
Oh, okay.
For sure, because I was actually looking forward to that one and it was terrible. And the other one, I mean, X Rebirth.
The werewolf
X
game.
Rebirth was bad. No, the werewolf game he liked. I mean, he didn't
I
love
love the werewolf game.
Well, okay, he loved
Yeah,
that.
no, I did love it. I did love it.
Wow. Wow.
That is an indicator though when you're well prepared for what you're getting. If you still like the fiction, if you're like and the goofiness of it, you can buy it. Preparation
Yeah.
is 90%
That's
of the
true.
game. So here's some of the answers we got here: Battlefield 2042, Mass Effect 3, Assassin's Creed Origins, Cyberpunk, Detroit Become Human, which is interesting to me.
I mean,
So
Cyberpunk
that-
is also
that
a very
person
good
is
one,
wrong.
because the first
Cyberpunk's a-
hour is like,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Yes.
And then it's just gone.
Scarlet
I have-
Nexus. That's a good one too. Go ahead. Go ahead, Silver.
The biggest one for me, speaking of Detroit, is Indigo Prophecy or Fahrenheit. Starts brilliantly. An amazing opening section where you think, oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm playing the killer and the detective trying to solve the murder at the same time. That's really interesting. That's unique. That's a pretty great hook. And then the game happens.
It's so funny. The reason why I'm chuckling is because I like the game, but I remember sitting with a friend playing that going, what is going on right
Yeah,
now?
exactly.
The old lady
The story makes
Matrix
no
fights.
sense, and-
Yeah,
So-
and
ahead.
an absolutely atrocious like flashback stealth section.
Yeah, yeah. It game just went to
and this
plaid,
the
man.
Simon Says sequences.
Oh, dude.
QT quick time events.
It was,
yeah.
and what's funny is there's not a single person that I've ever met, by the way, like it or dislike it, who doesn't see the audacity of the last end of that game, who doesn't see it and go, "What the?" There isn't anybody who's ever tried to explain to me and be like, "Oh no, I get it."
And I mean,
Every
it's not
person.
even. There certainly is the last end, but even before then, you have like the basketball game, which is also like a QTE, a boxing match, which is also like a Simon Says QTE with really ridiculous sort of soundtracks, and yeah, it's just and like
Disaster.
the childhood stealth section, and yeah, it's
Amazing game.
like the
Start
wheels
to
just come off.
It's an amazing game. Yeah,
finish.
exactly.
Amazing game. Start to finish. Go buy it.
Certainly unique.
Amazing.
Play now.
So I want to thank JT who got a Ronin shirt, and I can't read this. Shinobi 609 who got a Shogun t-shirt. Thank you very much for getting the merch, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, there's that game. With games that start out bad, or games that start out good, I don't think they usually just turn instantly bad, the front-loaded game, but there have been a couple. I think Anthem could easily be considered one that started out, because you would not consider
Right.
Anthem continuing that cycle. You'd be like, there's no way the entire game is this. Like, most of us would be like, that would be impossible. No one would make that game. Well, they did make that game. So Anthem, I could see people liking that. I feel Avengers... I felt that Avengers started out with a little bit of grandeur and could have been cool. The recent one, the Square one. I feel like that one was like, there were some parts of that where I was like, oh, this might be, this might
That's
be
a good one, because
And
when you
then-
play that campaign, dude, like the first few hours, it looks
Yeah, it was
very
pretty
polished.
big. It looks
very
polished.
cool.
You're walking around. You're getting the comics at the place. Things go wrong. I didn't love the characters or anything, but I was like, this is gonna
Yeah.
be solid. Oh wow, that game dropped
Well,
off.
Camilla? No.
Yeah, Camilla. Yeah.
Camilla.
And that game just dropped off severely. So there's that one. I'm trying to think of some other games that maybe we don't mention very often. I will say XCOM.
Yes.
Uh,
I know the one.
it's not like a Phantom Doctrine. Is that the no? Is it Phantom Doctrine that Takedown and I reviewed? I think it is. There's
no.
Is it the other one?
That's the Cold War spy.
That's
one.
the older one that's wildly different, like the POV.
I think that's the one I hate. But there's one where enemies could shoot you from like 900 miles away and you couldn't see them. It was ridiculous. But the idea of it was very cool. Also, the duck one. Do you guys remember the real time? What was that?
Yeah.
What was that? It was Mutants.
Mutant something. Mutant Zero. or
Mutant
something,
Year
right?
Zero.
Year Zero. That game, remember when we
That
saw
was
that?
terrible.
We were like, this
Yeah.
game's going to rock. We saw Mutant League Zero and we were like, dude.
It looked incredible.
It looks
The aesthetics.
incredible. The RPG I like. I'm like, man, I'm going to be up in this. And
No.
Yeah.
fuck, that game was not very good.
Uh-oh.
And
Carrot,
I mean-
somebody mentioned Dragon's Dogma.
I know I saw that, but I'm not
Oh.
gonna respond. I'm not gonna dignify that shit. My only assumption could be that it was the reverse, and he said a game that started out a little slow that was awesome.
Right.
Just joking.
Yeah.
Chimera
Right.
Squad, but another person mentioned Kathy Rain dropped off pretty steep for me. I like Kathy Rain. I like that point and click, but
Right.
I can see why Kathy Rain was a little different. I could see why somebody XCOM the Bureau, dude, that game rocked. Man, I'm the only person who likes that game. Total Biscuit gave me shit for liking
I think
that game.
I think they're asking if we were talking about Bureau as XCOM.
Oh, no, I wasn't, guys. I wasn't. I liked the Bureau. Yeah. But I got a lot of shit for liking
I mean,
that game.
Cyberpunk is a good one, isn't it? Doesn't
It
it
is.
start pretty decent?
I like
and
the
then
Bureau.
you
That's what
start
Reg said. Yeah.
Right, you start
the
seeing
opening
the game
hour
systems.
was pretty solid, but then
Yeah. You start to see like the perk systems and
I
everything,
think-
and it's like,
I think somebody just gave the best answer. Steam says Mafia 3.
yeah,
And I
a
would
very
agree.
heavily front loaded.
That is front loaded. Remember when you first start doing some of the missions and wiretapping, you're like, oh, dude, this could be, even though, yeah, it changed daylight and fucking the sun was all messed up, the graphics were all messed up. There was a lot about that game. And then you're just like, uh-oh,
Yeah.
there's nothing else. Ever.
Honestly, I had a similar experience with Mafia 2 as well, but that was partially I think due to how high my expectations were after like Mafia 1, City of Lost Heaven was one of my favorite games at the time for a very long time. So going into Mafia 2, my expectations was so high. And so
Yeah.
like starting out, I was really excited, really into it. And then excitement sort of started waning.
Talk me off the ledge. Alex says, talk me off the ledge of spending another 60 on God of War if I already have it for the PS5. I can do that easily. For half the price, you can buy a shirt. The shirt's going to last longer than the game. Check out the merch. And it looks
I
cooler.
was gonna say it doesn't even cost 60. So what?
Yeah. Oh, true. What is it? 49 for God of War?
I think it's 50. Yeah.
50. Yeah, the $50 one. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was the opposite for me. No Man's Sky starting was terrible for me.
The starting is terrible.
It's
Yeah.
Also, like to
it's
me,
so
and
bad. Phoenix
this is
Point.
gonna-
Thank you, Citizen Sleep. Sorry, Citizen Sleep
No,
brought up
yeah.
Phoenix Point. That was the game that I had so many issues with. Go ahead, Sil.
Yeah.
like the controversial one from my part is probably going to be Skyrim.
Oh, where you felt it
There's-
was good and enjoyable to start, and then it just
Yeah,
Figure
and
it out.
then just sort of
sense. Yeah.
the more I play it, yeah.
no, I would
guess
agree with
there
that.
are a
I
bunch
get
of these, huh?
I get to the middle of Skyrim, I think, or maybe the first fourth, and I would agree.
Yeah.
Skyrim's just sort of like, it's more. It's like they knew that they had a sandbox game that people were going to mod to death. You know what I mean? Like there was some
Right.
stuff that you could tell was missing from that. I mean, it was somewhat fun, but also I don't know about you guys, man. I hate the lore in Elder Scrolls. It's so boring. It's so boring.
What, the lusty
Dude,
Some of
Argonian
it
maid?
is, yeah.
Dude, yeah, the lusty Argonian,
Oh,
maid.
everybody knows about the lusty Argonian
Oh,
maid.
yeah.
That's because
a
it's
classic.
gross as hell. But I don't know. I thought Crackdown 3 had a solid start. Big Mac is getting laughed at. I feel like Drax. Dude,
I
come
remember
on.
trying to play that with Johnny. And
Oh
the
my
most
God.
exciting thing that happened was like, you can get in the cars.
The most
And that
exciting
was
thing to me was that
the
game
only
Crash.
joy in that game.
Yeah. I was excited for a total 45 seconds, like,
Yeah.
dude, you can get in the cars.
Yeah.
And then it's shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Big Mac. I can't believe that. That's a hot take of all hot takes because I just don't know anybody who likes that game. I just don't I mean,
Never
at all,
heard a
even the
single.
starting. But I've never heard a
Not to
single person-
invalidate Big Mac.
No,
I'm sure,
I get
you
you.
know, like
well,
it's
he even
fine.
says at a solid start he doesn't like the rest of the game.
Right.
But
Right.
the starting was like, man, that game was.
That set you up for the game.
Oh, dude, that game was bad.
Whoa.
Roland says Crusader Kings 3. First, you think you'll learn everything, and then you become depressed. That is pretty much Crusader Kings 3 and why I love it. But yes, you are right. Crusader Kings 3. There's a drop off, and then it's just like enjoy yourself or don't. We don't give a shit. Flight Simulator looks gorgeous, but wasn't fun. Okay, that's fair. What's fair?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fair to say the game isn't fun as such.
Yeah. I mean, that genre is
I
like
found
the
it
fun
fun.
is
I guess
the fun is
I
relative.
I found it
thought it was
enjoyable.
fun.
I found it enjoyable and relaxing, but I don't know that constitutes quote unquote fun.
Well,
I
it's
think
like
it
Truck
does for anybody
Simulator,
talk. I mean, at some point we
True,
have to
true
have
that.
some kind of shared language. So I'm okay with somebody
Right.
saying fun when they mean
Yeah, yeah.
enjoyment. You know?
Yeah.
Enjoyment. Yeah, for me, that exactly.
Um,
Fun is not like necessarily party, you know, like
Right.
jiggling your body. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's why you almost never hear me like. To me, fun. I think we can all agree that fun
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
the same thing.
and you say fun factor. It, you know,
Yeah.
it's that general.
Yeah. It's just the general thing, and I get it. I could see why playing. I can see why Flight Sim would grab you because the graphics, because humans are inherently visual.
Yeah.
You know, you see that HDR and you're like, oh damn, I'm gonna. And I even I did some spins and stuff in my review. People probably thought they were spinning the entire game. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do Iron Eagle and shit and fly in formation." It's like not so
You
much.
get that with Flight Simulator, but you also get beyond that. I mean, the double whammy of this is actually the world. Like this is
Yes.
actually the representation of the real world right now. Like what it's like over Berlin or wherever you're flying.
I think 90% of humanity doesn't give a shit. Like we like it because we're like it's raining where I live and it's raining in the game. Like you and I like it, but most people, I just don't think.
Yeah,
they're
I think
even
I
there.
think like those specifics necessarily. I don't think people necessarily give a shit about, but like the layouts of a specific city or terrain or like flying over like specific geographic areas that maybe you haven't seen before, like that tourism aspect.
Yeah. MSG 5. A lot of people are saying Metal Gear Solid. MSG. Sorry, Metal Gear Solid. MGS, not MSG. Man, that MSG 5 tastes good. Metal Gear Solid 5. A lot of people are bringing that up. Would you guys agree? I think I would agree.
No.
Metal
I-
Gear
I mean,
5.
like-
Really?
I think that game definitely hit pacing issues toward the end
Mhm.
because it started repeating a lot of missions where you had to go through them just with different parameters
Right.
through missions you had already completed.
Just didn't play that. So for me, it ended like at the
Yeah.
half point.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it also doesn't start well, at least for my taste, because you know, in the starting already you have these crazy Kojima cutscenes with a fire horse and some shit, and
Yeah,
you know, none of that was appealing to me. When the game actually kicks off and you're doing the stealth stuff, that's when. So for me, it was almost the opposite. I had to get through the initial Kojima hump.
I think somebody who likes the Kojima hump may like the starting and not the
That sounds
middle
wrong.
and
The
later parts.
don't-
so.
Let's not call it the Kojima hump.
Despite the get your shoulders into it long-term, very forceful Kojima hump. No, I mean, dude, Metal Gear is one of those weird games. Their pacing's always
Yes.
been off. It's always been off. It's
Yes.
never on, and people like that. It's almost like when you like a, artist director and they do things a little different. That's his thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not. Hey, bud, you're having a dream. Sorry, one of my dogs is running in place and he's scratching the floor. I think that, like, overall, he does that. I think technically you could say the guy who does Detroit Become Human. Sometimes both of their pacing's a little bit wonky. It doesn't feel necessarily perfect. Is there new content in God of War? No. Karak, next Sony exclusive PC port, Ghost of Tsushima? No. Straight up, it feels like abstract art. I don't know what you're talking. Oh, you mean Metal Gear? Yeah, Metal Gear could feel like abstract art, right? Like in a weird way, or
I guess.
abstract
Yeah,
directing, I guess.
Especially a game like Peace Walker for the PlayStation Portable.
Mm.
Like that game.
Oh yeah.
Is kind of bonker. Like that is basically Metal Gear taken to like the extreme anime levels. Like,
Wasn't that
Yeah.
the PS3 one? Peace
no, a
Walker?
PlayStation Portable.
Oh. Okay.
Because there's PlayStation Portable and PlayStation PSP, right? Or no, Vita.
The PSP was PlayStation Portable.
No.
There's Vita and Portable,
Vita.
right?
Vita is the
Okay.
other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And PlayStation Portable, was it truly just everything worked on that? On the so it was a PlayStation that was truly portable? Is that what that was? Because
No.
I didn't own that. Oh.
No. That had
No, it
that had
wasn't.
specific like PSP games. Yeah.
Yeah, their stuff always confused me. What did PSP stand for?
PlayStation Portable.
PlayStation Portable.
Wait, so they had the PlayStation Portable and then the PlayStation Portable again? But it was just called...
No, that was
The
it. Was
PSP
just the
is
one.
the PlayStation
Yeah.
Portable, and then they
Yeah.
had the Vita.
And then they had the
Yeah.
Vita. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
So what did Vita mean?
I think that was
Like
just the
life?
name.
Like
Yeah,
the
like
the
Vita,
Greek
the
word
life,
or whatever?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sorry, I admit Vita. I don't know why I got messed up on that. Let's see. Which game do you think will be next Sony PC port? Not saying. What's your thought on PlayStation Plus card off shelves in stores? We already talked about that. I don't really think it bothers anybody, right? I mean, there's still a way to get stuff for the Sony cards. Isn't that correct?
Also, it was the PlayStation Now cards. I think the Plus cards are still a thing.
Gotcha. And then looking at the news, one thing Reg and I were talking about. So, Nvidia, they got in touch with the guys who do reshade, and they're adding today DLDSR is in their drivers, which is a new type of upscaling that uses a better filter, uses some AI. But they're also doing a ray shading reshade filter that you can turn on in games. Now, I haven't got to test that, but I think it went live today as well. Which, if
Yes.
it did, so if
The driver says it does include it. I have installed the driver, but I have launched 3 games and I don't know where it is.
so it's not in your filters thing that pops up?
No, I
Uh-oh.
can't find it.
Okay. So that's what I was a little worried about. But if this comes live, just so people know what this does, is it's a very gross version of ray tracing. And what I don't mean gross as in it looks. I just mean it's not accurate. It's not built into the actual engine.
Well, yeah, it's only just like screen space. ray
Yeah.
tracing. Like,
But it still looks good on some games. It still looks phenomenal on some games. So if you get a chance, you got an NVIDIA card, and you update your driver, feel free to try this out and give me a heads up on Twitter if you guys get it working. I'm gonna try to get it working today. Add ray tracing to everything, man. That's the way to do it. Just ray tracing everything. Just be like, even like right now, silver and black and white, ray traced.
Right.
Right? Ray traced every single thing. What else do we got?
Tetris, ray traced.
Yeah, what? What'd you say?
Tetris, ray
Yeah,
traced.
yep, for sure.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Everything.
What else do we got today? It's been a short news.
We have some Discord questions.
Fuck.
Go.
Dude, what am I doing? I'm forgetting those. Go ahead. Oh, and Johnny, we missed 3. We missed Bivs from last week and a couple others. Just so you know.
Should we go start with those then?
Yeah, start with those and I'll tell you if we got them.
Okay, so Biv says if this queue is too late, don't worry about it. What's a game you can totally zen out to when you don't want to think too hard or want some comfort? What do you turn to switch your brain off and chill? For me, it's Mass Effect, he says. I've replayed it so many times. He can't kind of go through it in autopilot. Like watching my favorite movie or show feels like home. Also enjoy Super Flight when Mass Effect action is too high on ask. Relaxing. Sorry, it goes a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so games you zen out on.
I mean, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Yeah, Tetris.
My God, man.
I'll
Are
tell
you an
you-
actual
I'll
meme?
tell you this: there's 2 games, and I would agree with Tetris. There's 2 games I like. One I can't get though, and so the first one's is Columns, Sega's version of Tetris.
Yeah.
The music in that game was something I
And
just
Dr.
never
Mario
heard
as well.
before. And then there's Poker Smash, which is my favorite drop-down game I've ever played. It was on the 360 arcade. It was the best. I've just never played a game like that, and it's really hard to get a hold of. But we have one version on our 360, and I won't connect it to the internet because they removed it from the store, which means they'll try to delete it from my stuff. But yeah, I adore those 2 games. What about you, Reg?
I would say pretty much anything I'm currently playing on tablet, because none of those games I'm playing on there are really high brain games.
Yeah.
Johnny?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's interesting because actually games like League and Dota 2 are like super zen for me. When I play alone, I go like super quiet and I'm so focused. It's almost like a meditation thing, you know, because if you guys played those games, you have the last hitting of creeps and stuff thing. That's like a dance and it becomes like this super focused zen thing for me. But maybe it's a different definition of zen because you guys are talking more like mindless. For me, it's more like meditative, if that makes sense.
It's all the same. I mean, some people meditate and
Yeah,
their
I mean,
brain is filled with nothing. Other people, their brain is filled with something. So I get it.
I mean, that is the appeal of Tetris for me, is that my brain does enter this sort of
In
meditative
the zone, right? Yeah.
zone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else we got?
So this question from Plague Souls, we hit that one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember us hitting that one. And Astros Ice Bear. To each of you, if your life was made into a movie, what song would definitely be on the soundtrack?
Always look on the bright side of life from Life of Brian.
Let's see. What's a depressing Brazilian song?
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
I was immediately thinking of Yesterday.
All my troubles seem so far
Exactly.
away.
It's a hard question. Is someone gonna do the Journey Don't Stop Believing one? Don't stop. No.
Or Need a Hero.
Bro-
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Man, that's a
Yeah, it's a tough one, right?
The original menu song from Dragon's Dogma, obviously.
Oh,
man. The wind is pushing me. Such a dopey song. Greatest.
Alternatively, Hintel's Sarabande.
Sure.
man.
See. So the thing is what does he mean? Reflects it or just like what you would choose? Because I'm thinking like Imperial Death March when I walk in a room, right? Like, but I don't know if that's what he
right.
means.
Yeah.
But that's what like
Uh-huh.
or Razor's
yeah.
Edge from like ACD, like or Paradise City from Guns. Those are just songs I like though. So I don't know if he's
True.
saying songs you like versus a song that reflects your
Right.
life. 'Cause
Well,
those
if
are-
it's a soundtrack,
It would be like reflects your life, as it would be like on the soundtrack of the movie. that is your life.
And what
as
is
it
a
were.
song that is absolutely just bullshit? Like, Can't Touch This from MC Hammer or something. I don't know. Like, just wasn't good, but was sort of catchy. That'd be mine. It would be pretty nondescript.
Okay. Because not good, I would say any song from the Cyberpunk soundtrack.
Left, right, and left, or whatever. That's what I keep hearing in my brain. That's not the exact way it goes, but that is a bad song. Yeah,
Oh God.
that's a good one. Yeah, that's hard to know because, like, you know, what your real song would be versus just what you want to play.
Yeah.
You'd want a cool song, but let's be honest.
True.
Most of our lives would be a pretty shitty song. What's the next question, Johnny? Unless you have one. You didn't go. Did you answer? Johnny, you never answered. Don't skip. Don't skip.
No, I said don't stop believing from Journey.
Oh,
That's
you
fine,
said, is anybody going to have that? So you're taking it?
I'll take it.
Okay.
I'll claim it.
All right.
Oh, no, what's the Boston song? Fuck me, I forgot the...
That's not the song. I don't think Boston has ever had a
No,
song called Fuck
no,
Me.
they-
I'm just
they-
saying.
Well, B-sides, right?
Yeah.
I see a good one in chat, like human music from Rick and Morty.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's awesome.
More Than a Feeling, Boston.
Boston.
That's kind of my vibe. Anyway, next question that we missed last time from Jesus Crust. I was gifted the official D&D cookbook for the holidays, and some of the dishes look very good. What is a game, movie, TV show, etc., that you would like to see an official cookbook for? 100% Hannibal, the TV show. Bro,
That'd be awesome.
I would replace the long
be
pig
amazing.
with actual pig, but you know, still.
There's already a Final Fantasy one, right?
Probably.
I'm
I
sure.
wouldn't be
I
surprised.
mean, Monster Hunter has good looking food. Monster Hunter's buns, you know, they always look like, you know, like they look good.
Honestly, the food in Red Dead Redemption 2 looks really good as well.
Red Dead Redemption 2. I don't even remember.
Wait, you meant Final Fantasy 15 with the a new recipe?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah, Final
Yes,
Fantasy 15 or
exactly.
Monster Hunter Rise. They both have a very
Oh yeah,
food-centric,
and
you know,
and World, right? They have
and world. Yeah, they got the
the
buns and
foods.
the little things on the shish kebab and
The plastic
they-
balls.
Yeah, they start.
In
Yeah.
Rise, they look terrible though.
Well, I mean, to me,
Oh,
they
yeah.
actually looked good as a game food because I've seen
Oh.
game foods that look terrible, and you know, because
Yeah.
they're like using digital assets and they look like crap. But I would say like that would be cool.
Also, Suikoden 2, the JRPG, actually has like a mini game that's Iron Chef of like two chefs
Oh.
basically going up against each other, and then the referee is sort of judging the food. Where those recipes are actually kind of interesting and fun. That could be fun.
What else we
So
got?
it looks like there is actually not an official Final Fantasy 15 cookbook.
That surprises the hell out of me. It surprises me that a fan hasn't just
Yeah.
like said, "Here's
Yeah,
a
just
Final Fantasy
compile that shit.
inspired cookbook."
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What else we got, Johnny?
Okay, so this is a D&D question. Do you want to hit it now or
Yeah, you can hit
separately?
it now. I'll just work through it real quick.
Okay. So the Odyssey says, "Hello, gents. My question's about D&D. My son, 11, wants me to teach him how to play, and I have no experience. What's the quickest way to get the gist of what I need to do? I know you have D&D vids, but I figured they are for people who have at least dabbled."
I just want to say, Brett just said, "Man, I used to love fucking Poker Smash." Good man. Sorry, that was a game I was talking about. What would be the easiest way to get into D&D? Honestly, just buy any of the main rule book is the easiest way. There's no shortcut to it. You're still gonna have to learn. I mean, we could say that there's
Yeah.
board games that'll get you somewhat the idea, Brimstone, but that's $60-$70, or you do tabletop sim. So but your best idea is to just buy one, and then maybe honestly, you could watch, what do you call it? You could watch
Or
Critical
or
Role.
like
hang on.
if
But another one that you could watch is, of all things, Stranger Things. Stranger Things, the kids at the starting of Stranger Things are playing D&D like kids play D&D. And that's actually very cool to see because it's different than the way adults play it. You know, there's a lot of like, "Oh my God, what are we going to do?" And a lot of adults don't play that way unless they're being filmed for Twitch. What were you going to say, Silver?
just I mean, yeah, just for getting into it, definitely find a group. is the first tip. Like there are a lot of options. There are a lot of discords you can join and stuff where you can hook up with people who will be more than happy to sort of teach you the ropes and give you an introduction. And then let that be a gateway for you to sort of get into it.
Yeah,
would be
it's
my
funny you mentioned the
recommendation.
gateway because I was thinking if there are any other things that are gateways to D&D to ease you into it, whether it's Munchkin or other like
There
things
are,
like
but
that.
like
that
I
could
said,
help.
they all cost money.
They all cost money.
I was just trying to go from a budget way of saying it's better to just
Yeah.
buy the thing and not translate anything. Just buy it and
That's
learn
true.
it. I mean, because there aren't really shortcuts to if the kid wants to play
No.
D&D, Brimstone may not work for them, even though it's very close. So
Yeah.
at some point, you just have to. At this particular junction, it's cheap. Not cheap, but it's cheaper to just say, "Fuck it, just buy the book and go." I mean, get the
Yeah.
book from Sasha Grey. Sasha Grey's Guide on D&D. Is that a beholder? Oh, yes, it is. What else do we got?
This question from Bastard of Picard. Excellent. I often find myself going back to older retro PS2 on back titles. In the interim between newer titles I'm interested in playing, wondering if any of you go back to retro titles from time to time, and maybe any standout titles that you enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Tetris.
Don't say
I'm
that.
heavy retro gamer, so I will not say Tetris, but I will mention a game like Punch Out. It's actually a game that I
okay.
return to regularly, like the original NES Punch Out, which is sort of very, very heavy on memorization and timing. Like just memorizing the timing of the exact button sequence you need to hit. In order, and once you do that, you can basically do it blindfolded, which a lot of people have done, which sort of blows me away because I still cannot do it. But that's a game that I actually really sort of enjoy as well, because it does sort of do the similar thing with Tetris, where it gets my brain into a kind of zone.
What was the question?
If there are any retro games that
Oh,
you
retro
play
games,
in
yeah.
between, in between like recent
I don't know what the
titles.
term retro means. Does that mean
I was
Jade
gonna
Empire?
say-
Or does that mean some retro seems like it means something that maybe I'm not picking up on?
I would,
Well,
I mean,
he did say that PS2 and back in his case. So it's
Oh,
like
right,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
couple generations older games.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. No.
yeah, like 2000s back.
I don't think I have the ability to play a lot of them because of Windows 10, right? You know, compatibility issues you start to run
Right.
into. And I've got the Dreamcast set up, but I don't play it very much. If I could, I would. But I think at some point a lot of them have been remade and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
there's not. I mean, KOTOR's been on 50 devices. Jade Empire's been on a couple.
I guess
Not really something I'd go back to.
I was gonna say the Star Wars MMO that you play, was that
Well,
like PS3 era kind of?
I mean, it's
No.
older. DC Universe Online is PS3 for sure.
Well, yeah, it was
Um,
actually PS3 era. Yeah.
Yeah,
Old
but I
Republic.
mean, they've been so, you know, your PC gets more powerful and it's still going.
Yeah,
So that's a little
yeah.
different than a game that is just shut down on a console years ago versus an MMO.
Yeah, exactly. It's been modernized.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
retro
they-
stuff just every time I go back and play them, I get depressed because they're unlike what a lot of people think, where they're like retro was way better.
Are you reminded like?
I'm
oh,
reminded
they're
of how
not as
shit
good
it
as
was.
yeah.
Dude, I'm reminded like of how just I mean some are good. Don't get me wrong, but
Yes,
what
of
I'm saying
course.
is there's a lot of rose tinted glasses kind of stuff. Like I love
Absolutely.
Deus Ex 1, but replaying it is horrendous. It doesn't feel good. It feels like donkey shit. Unreal Tournament 1999, actually, I have just returned to it. It's installed. So I'd say that one is good. But a lot of games I liked, when you go back, guys, I'm talking about going back to a time when there wasn't 2 analog sticks. Like I know some people don't
Yeah.
even know that was a thing. I used to
Yeah,
use the
yeah.
Dreamcast buttons to go forward, left, and right. You had to
Yeah,
play
the
lefty.
D-pad.
Yeah, you had to play technically lefty because that was the
Yeah,
only way that worked.
some games didn't support the.
No, some games
Like I
there
remember
was none. There was the
Oh,
Dreamcast
no,
didn't even have one.
Yo, you're right, but I
Yeah.
remember in PS1 era because you had the joysticks, but many games didn't support them.
Yeah, they didn't even.
so you would
yeah.
still have
Yep.
to.
Yeah, I mean the first PlayStation controllers didn't have analog sticks either.
Hexen was
Oh.
good, Simeon. Hexen was good. Sorry,
From what I
somebody mentioned
remember.
Hexen. Yeah. yeah, so like returning to those are pretty tough. I mean, it just depends on the game.
Yeah.
Like Punch-Out I could return to because Punch-Out is something about Punch-Out's expected. I know what's expected and it's right there and it looks good. Punch-Out doesn't like have pixels missing and shit. Like Double Dragon on Sega was bad. And so there were too many pixels on a line and it would draw and then stop because it was just there weren't enough. There wasn't
Also, a
enough
game
power.
like Contra as well.
Contra.
I could still play.
Yeah, I could. Rambo. What were you gonna say, Reg? Were you gonna add one?
I was gonna, I was gonna say I tried like 3 years ago or something. I checked out Anarchy Online, and
Why would you do that?
exactly.
That was rough day one, let alone day.
It's
1 million.
amazing.
That is crusty as hell, my dude.
Like you cannot even interact with anything because not even the buttons make any kind of sense.
Wow.
I'm glad
Yeah,
people
no.
can go back and play those, but sometimes they start to look really bad too. Like, you know, on a nice TV, especially the bigger the TV gets, the more, you know, stuff can look blown up and pixelated and like Crash Bandicoot. I was recently playing like #1 and it just looked pretty bad. Power Slave. Somebody mentioned Power Slave. That game was fucking awesome and is getting a remake. What's the next question?
All right. So this question here from Palpatine, because of a tweet by Karak. Oh no, I've seen some of your tweets. This is not gonna be good.
They're all completely above board. What are you talking about?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, he goes on to say, I have been thinking a lot about a game I would like to see. Oh god. Basically a mashup of Fallout and The Division taking place in Texas and incorporating the rich lore of the Alamo, the Chupacabra, its diverse environments, West Texas, the hill country, and deep musical history, Bob Wills, and the Butthole Surfers. Guys, this is his question. I haven't come up with this name. This apparently exists.
Yeah, Butthole
Is there-
Surfers is a huge band.
Oh, it's real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Is
not huge, but
there
they were popular.
is there a game that exists in your imagination that you would like to see come to fruition?
Yeah, the Twitter question was like, sell me on a game where you mix two things.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, and because sometimes you'll be surprised. Sometimes I'll do question of the day and only a couple people answer. But the ones that I get a lot of answers, I'm like, sell me on something, because everybody wants to sell you on something, and it always works when I'm like, sell me on something, and people are like, all right. But yeah, that was the question, was like two worlds or games mixed together, genres we were talking about, but just anything. And there was a lot of good answers, man. There was a lot of good answers. Did he have a question? Was he just asking you guys now? Did he have a question? I don't think he asked a question.
Well, at the end he says, is there a game that exists in your imagination that you would like to see come to fruition?
Yeah, I mean, there's one I've often talked about, which is I would love to see an open world Zorro game, like set in like the late the late 18th century, early 19th century California. You play as Diego de la Vega coming back from Spain, returning to Mexico, finding that everything is now under dictatorial rule of the alcalde, and having to sort of unite the peasants in a revolt against as you ride on Tornado, like liberating.
Just fun fact: alcalde simply means like mayor of the town.
Yeah.
And so you just be like whipping dudes out there.
Yeah, whipping dudes, like carving the sea into their shirts and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Terrorizing them.
What you know currently, guys, that if a company made that game currently, they would have to do something special, like you can carve in real time any letter you want in their chest.
Right.
You know what I mean? Dick butt.
Basically do it like the Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Yeah, with the sword slash.
Yeah,
with the exact. It's so true. You know, some developer would be like, "We're not just allowing you to be Zorro. Do you want to be Poro, Goro, Doro? Just put whatever letter you want in them. Dick butto." Zorro is ill used. I'm assuming there's some racial component to it that people don't like. I don't know why.
I think mostly it's probably the IP, because they're quite.
Oh, are they restrictive? Okay.
Yeah.
That's too bad, because Zorro is completely legitimate, cool character, very fantasy-like. There's a lot of cool stuff you could do. Basically Princess Bride copied everything. So the idea of doing something like that with that kind of weapon,
he
which
is
different.
He is the original Batman, really.
Yeah, very much so. Johnny or Reg, any game that you like? I mean, we're gonna probably just roughshod right over the top of something we've already said, but is there any?
Yeah. I mean, nothing that I like have set because I just play what's available.
Yeah.
Usually, and don't think about stuff that won't be anyway. But I'm thinking of like something like Wasteland, but in more of a Witcher style. So instead of top-down turn-based strategy game, something that's more open world, more questing based.
That would actually be really cool. That would be very cool. What about you, Johnny?
I mean, there are things that I really enjoy when in a game you have like mixing of different types of gameplay. So I remember when Reg and I played It Takes Two, one of the things that I really loved about it is how many different like styles of gameplay you had in just one game. So there would be like one fighting game segment where I don't know if you were fighting a chicken or that's Far Cry. I'm getting confused here. But you know that what I mean? Like you're playing a game where you would never expect to have a cockfighting fight game style. And to have that, I love that sort of thing that's unexpected and adds something extra. So
Far Cry
I think
6
those
had,
are
had the cockfighting. It was
Yeah, and
so
I mean,
weird, man.
It Takes Two had so many of those.
Yeah, well, It Takes Two. That was the game, right? The game was just
Yeah.
unexpected
Yeah.
shit.
So-
left.
Yeah,
Mhm.
pretty much.
If you have a question, put a super chat in. We'll answer super chat questions at the end if there's any. Go ahead, Johnny. Any others?
Yeah, so next question from Dowlord. Good day, gentlemen. Have a game ever had a life-changing impact on you?
Has a game.
Maybe even...
Sorry.
Well, I'm reading
in my
his
brain.
question.
I'm correcting in my brain. I
Nice.
said it out loud.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, I'm preserving his syntax. Okay, my dude. Okay? No.
All right. All right.
I'm being faithful here. Maybe even on a personal level. If so, in what way and how? Would love to hear your stories. Yours sincerely, Dowlord.
Sincerely.
Sincere.
And
I mean, my instinctive
Okay. good.
answer would be no. But then as I think about it, and I realize the fact that, I mean, again, going back to Tetris, I've played that game over 10,000 hours over the course of my entire life.
Yeah.
And I was like 8 years old.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I can't help but think that it's had an effect on me over that that span. What that's been exactly, I can't really say. But yeah, I would think it's had a life-changing effect on me.
Nah, I mean, dude, there's, I don't know. There's games I've played. I mean, there's games that have changed what I thought about games. So you could say that was life changing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, okay, no, well, this is probably that answer. Daggerfall. I will say Daggerfall caused me to be like, all games prior to that were restricted. There was something restricted no matter what. I ran into restrictions. I want to do this. Daggerfall was the first game where I remember my friend Simon going, dude, you can become a vampire. Dude, you can become a werewolf. Dude, it's open world. It's procedural, dungeons. You can sleep or stay inside of an inn, go to sleep, and there's a chance the innkeeper won't notice you and will go to bed and you can steal his stuff. And it was just constant freedom. And yes, there were restrictions, but by the time I got to those restrictions, my brain I just could not believe what I was playing. It was like, what the fuck? I can do, what is going on? So I would say Daggerfall. Like that probably got me more into PC gaming than any other game ever. Like it was, because that wasn't coming on the console. There's no way. What about you, Reg?
I would say nothing lasting. Like there's certainly games I've played that had an emotional impact. Maybe that I even thought about still a week later or two, but nothing that had like a life-changing impact past that.
Yeah, I don't think I think of the occasional like big ending game or some game that I really enjoyed, but there's so many other games that it's pretty easy for things to get fogged up by the most recent game you played or another game that's just as good. Hopefully you're playing games, by the way. That's one thing I think we think games are good, but a lot of people who we talk to, it feels like they've got some game in their past that was amazing and no other game equals that. And I got to be honest, man, that's like the person who remembers their ex from high school. They're 40. They're still trying to fit into their fucking sophomore Letterman jacket. And you're like, dude, seriously, it's over.
Stuck in the past.
Move on. Yeah.
Well, okay. I see Aries in chat mentioned the Trails series. I guess that's the closest. Not really life-changing, but changing what I expect and hope from
a series.
A series,
yeah,
and from storytelling in games, because this series definitely has set my bar way higher now that I've seen what could be done.
Damn. Really?
Yeah.
Because those games aren't brought up often as that, right?
Well, for me, maybe you're thinking of the Tales games again. I'm not sure.
No, Trails,
Yeah.
right? What I'm saying is,
the
I don't
JRPG,
I don't hear a lot of people saying those games are like change the story. Like really never heard people love the story, so that's cool. I just didn't. I mean,
honestly, I've never
that's
heard
pretty-
anyone mention those games outside of Reg.
Oh,
I don't know if they are very widespread.
right.
I would say no. I don't think so. The later titles certainly have gotten bigger in the West, but originally it's a very Japanese Asian style game. What really took me with those games is that the 9 titles I played back to back, they tell one story.
Big story.
Like every game continues the story.
Right.
And that's just something I've never experienced before in gaming.
It has to be one of the longest series ever in video games, I would assume, right? I mean, if it's telling a continuation story, continual story,
Yeah, that's
got to be one of the
and
longest
is,
games ever of all
and
time.
is, I would think, is up there as well.
That's crazy, man.
Although is I think more disconnected, like disjointed.
What game?
From what I've heard.
Yeah,
it's from the same studio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to hear that because you just really don't see it. What's up, Hot Curry? Thank you very much. Yeah, you just don't hear that. So that's very cool to actually hear that in the game. You certainly don't hear about a game holding on to the same
storyline. You have sub arcs in that series. Like the first 3 titles I had them in one country, in one city. Then it develops your character that was a student is now a teacher and travels to another country. The story continues there. Then there's 2 side games that tell the story from another point of view, where you're a police officer and witness what happens in the conflict between the countries from the other side. So for me, it's just one of the best stories I've ever seen in any game.
That's very cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I would agree with Johnny. I would say I'm sure I've heard of it, but it's certainly the most I've ever heard of it was from Reg versus anybody else. But that reminds me of Danganronpa, where I never heard about it unless Maddie was talking about it, and then Reg was talking about it. They're the only 2 people, and I'm sure Johnny's mentioned it, but like I hear it and I'm like, what is that? You know,
I would say, it's probably going in the same vein that it's not many people that know that series that play those series, like Danganronpa as well.
Yeah.
But those that have started it once, I would wager are sticking with it and getting every title.
That's crazy.
Like for me, for sure, that's now on the must-purchase list. Like every title that comes out, I'm totally on board.
That's a long-term fan right there.
Yep.
Somebody said StarCraft and World of Warcraft for theirs. That is true. What else do we got? What other questions?
I just want to say real quick that for me, Final Fantasy VII, I think 10 years ago or 20 years ago when it came out, whenever, was the game where I said, wow, games can do this. And that was when I became a gamer in my head. And, and since then, I've listened to that soundtrack at least once a week. Not the whole soundtrack, but you know what I mean? Like I'm always listening to those songs. They're so evocative of that experience. And they have, it's not overstating that they have actually shaped me in some way because I listen to those songs so much, right? It's like they have actually become a part of, my routine and really of my life. So I guess there you go. This one from Mercurius 13, Subcrypto Hose.
Crypto hose.
What game soundtrack makes you want to replay or revisit a game, if any? Personally, Nobuo Uematsu's orchestral arrangements for Final Fantasy VII Remake. There we go. On cue. Always make me want to jump back into the game to the point where I picked up the soundtrack on vinyl. Enjoy your weekends and thanks for the great content. Any soundtracks make you return to games?
I can't say that a soundtrack has ever made me want to return to a game. The most it's done is just made me want to listen to the soundtrack.
Right.
Yeah.
For me, for sure, Far Cry 5. It got me to replay it because we randomly talked about it and somebody posted a link. And then I listened to the link and was like, man, I'm reinstalling this. And that was just the main menu. It wasn't even the game. The music.
Yeah, the main menu was so good, man.
Mass Effect. Every time Mass Effect plays, I want to replay it.
Yeah.
So those would be my two. And I would say recently Syndicate caused me to replay it because I was randomly looking through a playlist and Assassin's Creed Syndicate popped up. And I started listening to it. And it's such a discordant style of music compared to a lot because I think Austin was going a tiny bit towards Sherlock Holmes movies. You know, if you guys remember the Sherlock Holmes movies have like a ding, 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 ding. They've got a weird little cadence to everything.
Yes.
And there was certainly not that in this. I want to make sure people don't think I'm dissing on the soundtrack or saying that it was a copy. It wasn't. It was just that maybe that's a musical style I'm not aware of for that period of time. It probably was the bar music, the instruments they had in bars and brothels and stuff. But yeah, definitely got me to return to it. People are saying EverQuest, the intro song for EverQuest, a game I've never played. I think, well, maybe I turned it on one time. Yeah, EverQuest, I just haven't.
I mean, for me, Nier Automata, listening to the soundtrack made me replay that game.
Oh, did it?
Played,
yeah.
Yeah.
Nier it. Man, I don't even know how to describe the music in that game.
It was such a good mix of the gameplay with the.
What was the robot? What did they say?
This cannot continue.
This cannot continue. And it was a music, and and I remember reviewing it, and I was talking to a PR guy, going, "Dude, you got no clue, man, until you play this game." He was like, "Does it look as good as?" Like I'm hearing. I'm like, "Oh, magic, man! That game, that's probably their premier title to me." Like that dev has ever done. It might be forever, but GTA, EverQuest. Lucitan says, "Wow, when you enter Stormwind in WoW." I do remember that actually myself, and I'm not even a huge.
The WoW soundtrack I've listened to quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing to me, Reg. Though, real quick with WoW, is that there's so many versions and so many different things that the experience I had, I can't even capture again if I wanted, because I don't even know how to get to the experience I had because I can't even remember. Like I don't even remember what races or what, I started out as. Like I want to re-experience it a little bit, but that game's so huge. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Then there's what I mean by that is there's the new and the classic. And
the classic, and I think classic or
that's what I was
Didn't
just going to say. Is it
Yeah.
my classic or is it a different kind of classic? Because I played it on a Windows 98 SE machine. So we're talking classic at that point. What else we got, Johnny?
Okay, we got 2 more questions to hit today. So Lasercat says, "Sup, you amazing bastards. 2 questions. One, is it worth getting MHR or God of War if you already own it on consoles but never played them? Are the PC versions the first impressions you want to have? Second, so maybe we can address that one first before I move on.
He's saying he's already got it and hasn't played. No, don't buy him on PC. What the fuck?
That sounds like me.
Yeah, don't buy them on PC. If you haven't played them on the console at all and you've owned them for a while, that indicates that there's nothing pulling you towards it. I would not respend that
For Monster
money.
Hunter, I would say it's pretty easy. Do it like I did. Install the demo on PC. And if you still, like me, haven't even launched the demo in a week, don't buy the game.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I would say there's a big, like a giant difference between, Monster Hunter Rise PC and Switch. So definitely the demo.
No. He hasn't turned it on though.
Yeah.
Right.
It's what
so
I'm
that's
saying.
why. But what I mean is like, check out the demo on PC, and if you go like, whoa. Right.
But he hasn't checked out his real own game. Do you see where I'm coming from? I'm saying, he hasn't even.
You have it.
Right. If I'm going to
that's why I
drive
was
you
saying
through the
download the
finish
demo.
line, but you're too
Also
lazy to get to
don't-
the truck, What the fuck?
Exactly. Download the demo.
Yeah.
Also, don't launch it like I did. I did
Yeah.
actually install it.
But
never
why even
launched
download it?
uninstalled it again.
Just be like, I'm too lazy to download it. I'm definitely not into this game.
And
I
then
don't
Jolly
know.
asked, "Hey, you want to play?" I was like, "No."
Yeah. Oh, Neuromancer says, need to drop, but hope everyone has a fantastic day. Thank you very much. Longtime patron there. Appreciate you jumping by. Okay.
Cheers, man.
Anybody else want to add to this one? I don't even remember what the original question was.
No, that well,
What the fuck was the
no,
original
that's it's whether it was worth getting the PC one to have a
Oh,
first impression on
right.
PC. Like, try the game, right? If you own it,
Yeah,
try the game,
dude.
Yeah,
What the man?
try the game. Okay, so he has a second question. Is there a future where games are still amazing quality, but NFTs are included minimally? Or are we looking at the decline of quality in games? Is it going to be just like microtransactions? I say this because the ACG video pointed out how awful NFT games are currently.
They are awful. Or if they are
Or
they?
non-existent.
Should be the question.
Yeah.
Is this an?
Well,
I would
see,
say,
the
well,
one-
for
the
sure
one
have
I
good
mentioned-
games forever.
The one I mentioned on tablet is at least a game. It's not a good game, but
Yeah,
it is a game.
exactly.
Okay,
So he's got-
okay.
Sorry, smelled what I thought was dog poop. He's got the right thinking. There's at least one real game out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But that still means the quality is low, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's not the focus of those games.
No, I
right now.
get that, but I guess that's what he was getting at, that
There will always
the
be good
quality
games.
will...
There will always be
Well,
good games. It's just
So
will
let's
there
say
be
yes,
less?
it will be like microtransactions because not all
Yeah.
games have microtransactions.
Right.
Not all games have terrible microtransactions. So
Yeah,
it will be
yeah,
the same.
varied.
There's
So,
always going to be
yeah.
people like us who, like, let's say I was skilled in any way, shape, or form. I could make a game and still hate NFTs. So you will get developers who are like, I do not like NFTs. They will not be in my game, who is a talented developer. What people are worried about, including myself, is that it's almost like mixing something in a liquid and things start to spread out. You have more and more of a chance.
the overall trend.
Yeah, and if we're harshing on developers and we're hammering on them and we're like, they're not getting a lot of money, blah, 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 then somebody who's a good developer may look at an NFT and be like, listen, man, I can either not make this game, right? Or I can put an NFT in it and slightly adjust the gameplay to fit that NFT. And suddenly you get that death by inches kind of shit that goes on. And we do make it hard on devs, not to be rude, but like we are rude. So like, let's say there's somebody on Steam who does a small game, somebody hates it, they're mean to him. After a certain amount of time, somebody looks and goes, you know what, you, man, like you, I'm just gonna do it then because you're all bitching about the game I worked really hard on. So I'm gonna work somewhat as hard, but I'm gonna use an NFT to hire somebody. We're gonna throw some, items that you can collect in here. You'll get an NFT from it. That is how shit dies. That is exactly how it falls apart.
There's always hate. Like, how dare you release the game in this state? How dare you delay this game?
Yeah. Oh, dude. Right?
No matter which way.
How dare you delay it? It's like, jackass. That's exactly what you want. Is somebody is delaying it, it is only in the positive. There is no company who goes, let's delay this to spend more
let's spend like
to
a
release
couple
a
more
worse
months
product.
more wages for our
yeah,
for
it
our
makes
people
no sense
because it's fun.
Dude, that's the thing is overall I think most gamers are awesome, but the ones who are look at it and scoff. That's why I get a lot of shit. People be like, why'd you attack that person on Twitter? Man, you were pretty rude to that person who was rude to you. You should have ignored him. I'm like, absolutely not. They should be lifted up and annihilated over and over and over again. And I don't care if they become worse. There's a chance I'll destroy a couple people, and that's all I care about. Because some developers get shit that is so ridiculous
Oh yeah.
that I'm just, and I get shit. I was telling my wife, some of the stuff I get is like, damn. And I'm a dude who's pretty accustomed to some things, and I get them. I'm like, dude, if I was somebody else, that'd be legitimately frightening.
There's a very vocal contingent of people for whom things can't just be terrible. It's a crime against humanity.
Yeah.
I mean,
you got Hitler
look at-
goose stepping through development somehow. You
yeah,
know?
or I mean, you look at like the backlash to. Not a huge fan of how Game of Thrones ended, but you look at the backlash to like Benioff and Weiss, like the show creators, showrunners on that, like ban them from everything forever, because of how they ended that. Like put them on trial, whatever, like kill them, death threats, like ridiculous shit because people were not happy with how that ended. I mean, the levels of anger that get projected out of things that are subpar is
It's
often
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Real quick super chat. Ven in you says, "Thank you for helping me decide on VR and troubleshoot it a bit. Hope you all have a fantastic 2022." You're welcome, man. I'm glad you. Yeah, we've sold a bunch of HP reverbs in there. Damn, I need to ask HP. I need to be like, yo, I need an affiliate
kickback on
code.
those.
ACG/HP/reverb. All right, we done? Is that it? Or we got another one?
We have one more question.
One more. Sorry, guys, it's 1:20. I didn't know I was holding you guys late. I apologize.
This one, and by the way, we didn't mention the Stalker delay as well. I don't know if you wanted
Stalker's
to touch
delayed.
on that, but
Continue.
got delayed until December. It was a very big one, obviously, which I guess means the project was in a bit of disarray, but
probably.
But yeah. Okay, so Citizen Sleeve, last question, says, "Sup, I'm going to semi-reverse the question about a game that started well and got worse. Which game didn't you have much interest in, but after you played it, you were like, man, that was good?" That's not how he sounds. I don't know why. Yeah. I didn't have much interest in Until Dawn, but ended up playing it 4 times through, and I enjoyed it so much.
Interesting.
Right.
That's
Okay.
interesting from him, too, because, as an auteur, as the pinky up, sleeve, who's like, technically the filters were wrong. The fact that he replayed that game is surprising to me.
Yes.
Multiple times.
I mean, he's also a major horror fan, which
horror
doesn't
buff,
matter. At some point, he would go on to something else. Like, I mean, it is a game.
True.
He does not actually return to a lot of games either. Sleeve, at least from what I've tracked, he's not a huge returner to games. At least from
true, but he does just delve into horror schlock a lot. Like watch hours of it.
What else? Guardians was pretty low on my list, but I that's recency bias.
I think something like a Colony Builders, so like Surviving Mars, didn't really expect to get into it much.
And you like that?
And then
one.
I played 200 hours of that game, dude. I just couldn't get enough of it.
You survived a trip to Mars.
Well, I also died a lot, to be fair, right?
But I mean, the amount of time is probably
true.
longer.
If you add up,
yeah. No, I guess
So the big one for me would probably be Euro Truck Simulator 2.
Oh, right, yeah, for sure.
Didn't necessarily expect
that you would be in it for weeks on end.
Yeah, basically from what is it now, 2014, 15, up until now, like 7-8 years later, still playing that game off and on.
That's crazy, man. And did you even get a steering wheel, Silver, or are you doing that gamepad?
I do, but I mainly use the gamepad for that game.
I figured. I mean, it works well. Like it's it works well enough. What about you, Reg?
I would say Skyrim, actually. Like the first time I played Skyrim, because I didn't really enjoy the previous games that I had tried. So I wasn't going in with the highest expectations, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, so much so that it was my first Steam user review ever, because I loved that game so much. Yeah. So that was going in with like mediocre expectations from prior games and ending on a very high note.
If I said, what was the moment you knew Skyrim was special?
The moment, I don't know, but it was like in the opening hour, like it was pretty soon.
I have a question for you. Do you think it's possible that it might have been the same place if it wasn't the 13,000 steps or whatever the fuck that thing's called? The very first cave or whatever mission you get has you wind this twisty turny thing up above the city, and I remember the walk out, and you could see the town, river, whatever, the first town. That was when I was, and the snow was coming down, and they obviously timed it. They must have had some scripts in there. It's always like that epic moment. And I remember going up there, and I didn't know if maybe that was the same for you, but that was the moment where I was like, oh shit, like this is, it was so different than Oblivion and Morrowind. They were so dry. There was something that was never felt
Yeah.
like,
Exactly.
you know, yeah, dude, that's
Like Morrowind, I distinctly remember I had pretty much the opposite feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was going out into the world from, I believe it was like the typical dungeon start.
Yeah.
And you see the world and was like, well, that doesn't look that great.
It was Sayadine, the little town of Sayadine or whatever, and you come out and you're just like, oh, there's nothing on the ground.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And Skyrim was like the complete opposite of that.
Yeah, it's so true. And Oblivion, I think, looked okay coming out of the prison, but it never. Oblivion had shiny face. Do you guys remember? They looked like
Oblivion faces.
Bloom.
That, yes, for sure. Also,
My God,
I
man.
just hated the Oblivion portals. Like I despised
Oh,
them.
dude, I forgot about Oblivion portals. Wow, I must have hated them. I didn't even know what you meant at first. I remember
I
Oblivion
hated them.
portals.
That's why I remembered them.
Weird. I remember the Oblivion portals now and having to go up them. You went up
It
the
was so
tower.
dreadful.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
so mind-numbing. I forgot all about this.
And then
That's
if
crazy.
you were really dedicated, you farmed them because they gave you that crystal at the end.
I was not
which
dedicated.
Allowed you
Just saying.
No,
to enchant
for
your
sure
armor
not.
or
Yeah.
your weapons. Yeah.
I don't know about you guys, but one great thing for Skyrim 2 was glass weapons. I don't know why it was so cool, but the first time you get like a glass sword and it was transparent, and I remember a lot of games they just didn't do transparencies. It was like metal, brass, whatever. And I remember getting a glass shield and a glass sword and just being like, oh, damn, son. It was like getting spinners on my lowrider. I was like, this is awesome. It was so good. Those are good times, man. Like, that's one of the few games I think that most everybody, at least in some way, has a good memory of. Maybe. For all its times, Morrowind had epic water textures. Oh, Morrowind's water textures were awesome. First time of using a GeForce shader, and I remember you see the water and you hear the little sound. So good. Anyway, that'll be it for us.
And then you
We're
heard
gonna
the
wrap
Cliff
this up.
Richard screech.
Not me. I modded those bitches out. See ya, Cliff Ray. Dude, I used to load up the cell, delete them by hand, delete the spawner by hand. Anyway, dude, they were horrible. And that's it for us. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. We appreciate it. Not quite sure why we went long. I'll have to look because it didn't feel long. Unless my clock is off, it says we're almost 25 minutes long. So
it is long. Yeah.
So anyway, I apologize. I don't know why that went so long, but thank you. Thanks to these guys for sticking around. Thanks to you guys. If you get a chance, check out the Patreon, man. There's a bunch of people in the Discord. Cool place to be. And you'll only be teased like once or twice a day. It's pretty good. We've toned it down. That's it for us. Peace out, everybody. Have an awesome weekend.
Take care.
Bye.
Weekend.
Yes.
I don't know why I can't get that right, man.